Howdy doody, folks. How are we all? Hope you're all doing well. There's going to be an imposter coming in shortly. So, yeah, I'll give you over to the host to do the show. G'day, everybody. How are we all? Like to say thank you and hello. And who do I have? I've got Gary. How are you, buddy? Do me a favour and close your freezer door, mate. It's getting very cold down here. Okay. Randall, how are you? AJ, nice to see you here. Hey, Daryl, nice to see you on board as well. Thomas, Split Rock, how are you? Who else is here? Dwight, how are you, buddy? Nice to see you on here. And Scott, how are you, buddy? Hope everybody is well. I'll just wait as everybody else is coming on. I've got about 12 other viewers on board. Hey, Jean Ricard, how are you? Yeah, as a lot of you guys would have seen on my intro page. Oh, sorry, Randall. Yeah, that's a pain there. It's not you, it's me. Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody. As you can see on my post, I've managed to hit 200. And it's been like that now for 3-4 days. So, yeah, thank you. I'm quite surprised, but I'd like to thank everyone for their support, their encouragement, and everything else to go along with it. In some ways I'm overwhelmed, but yeah, it's been good. It's been a good trip. It's now 11 months since I started my live streaming, and I met some great people here. Made some new friends up here as well, and yeah, I'm very grateful for it. So anyway, should I let this imposter come on board? Hang on a minute. Something is strange here. I bet. Hey, Steve, how are you? Yeah, I better let him up. He's up to no good again. Or should I say, still up to no good.
All right, now just hang on. I'll get it up. Hang on. Gentle. Come on. Got it. See, I told you, eating Japanese is not good for you. You really need to go into some other food. Oh, sorry. Hey, everybody, how are you?
Oh.
Congrats on 200.
Thank you.
And there was much rejoicing.
Well, there was under the blankets because some sod up on top of the mountain had been keeping his doors open and his freezer door open for the last 3-4 days.
What season is it down there, Artie?
Don't know. It looks like summer outside at the moment.
Isn't it called winter down where you are? Isn't it winter down there?
Yeah, but it's not supposed to get to like below 30 degrees Fahrenheit here, where I am, where the other person is supposed to get up there by below 30, but not down here. I'm not mentioning any names, creepy?
Hi to everybody saying hi.
Sorry, folks, I have not organised a giveaway for my 200. I wasn't expecting this to happen so quickly because everything went slow. Plus, I'm still having battles with that other matter about getting to the United States, which is a pain in the backside. I've had a bit of a run-in with him this week, but I haven't heard the end of it. It seems as if the call centre is going into India. I'm not impressed. Days I end up receiving a text message. I think it was Tuesday, Wednesday. I was up at the doctor's surgery. I was coming home, and I received a text message saying there are dates available for interview this year for September, October, November, December. And I was like 10 minutes away from home. I come home, logged on to their portal, and it was all gone. You cannot tell me that 4 months' worth of appointments have gone within 10 minutes. So I gave them a call and they said there's nothing they can do because of the visa department. You've got to get in contact with the consulate. I go, well, it was the consulate phone number I rang, and I wish to speak to someone at the consulate. And they turned around and said, well, no, you've got to send them an email. I go, no, I'm sick of the email ping pong and no one responding to the email. I want to talk to someone. Either I get to talk to someone here now or I'm coming up to the office. And I'm also getting in contact with the lawyers because I've had enough of this BS. So Steve, you're easy to come in here. Visa. The Visa gift card. Yeah. I will be working on that. I am going to do something in conjunction on my 12-month stream towards end of August because that's when I start this Sunday, Saturday live gang chat. So I'm going to do something.
Free drop bear tours.
But yeah, I can throw that in. Yeah, it's a lot easier for you guys to come in here, but don't lose your paperwork because the embassy here won't help you to get the paperwork to get back home for another 2 years. But yeah, that's disappointing. I thought, yes, I'm going to be able to organise something, arrange something for October. But yeah, I'm going up there and I've got the paperwork, all the paperwork now that I need. And I'm marching up to the office next week. I suppose we better let this other guy on. I mean, I'm being invaded by people from Ohio for some reason. It's not too bad of a state, but,
get my light out of the way.
Hello,
hey, Dave, how are you?
Hey, I just wanted to come on and say congratulations, buddy.
Thank you, Dave. Yeah.
How you doing, Anthony?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Good. We get the Ohio invasion, he said. What are you going to do?
The Buckeyes are in the house.
That's
Hello,
right.
everybody.
Hi, Lee. How are you?
Let me get the comments up here. There we go.
Hey, Jeff. Nice to see
Zero,
you.
Daryl, Steve, Ian, Jeff, John Ricard. Hey, how you guys? Creepy. Randall, Scott.
Ian is here. Hi, Ian. Randall, Daryl's here. You should get that old.
Go back.
Yeah, I'm too old and American for most people to get that.
Get
Get the old mirror and do that. I see Billy and Tommy and Randy.
Romper room.
Exactly.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. Hey, Alma, how are you? Yeah. When I done those couple of stop animation, the old-fashioned way of doing animation, my subscriber account just went through the roof. So
that was really cool how you did that. I don't know how you did it, but that was really neat.
very well. It's sort of like time consuming, but how it's done, it's
Favors were done in back alleys. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, something like that. Yeah. You just take a little small, little tiny. You make movements in small increments, and you take your photos as you make little increments. I don't know if you remember how you. I don't know if you did it, Dave, but when we used to doodle in the classroom in high school and school, and used to do the drawings and used to do the animation on the side of the textbooks.
And then you flip the pages, and the guy would run across the page and
Yeah.
across the edge of the book.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, especially schools textbooks.
Oh yeah.
So generations down the line we'll be able to see it. But I think they burnt a lot of those books now. They
You don't
put
really
everything
use
on the
books
computer.
anymore.
Yeah.
I know when my kids were in high school, the school issued everybody like a Chromebook or something, like a little laptop.
Yeah, that's got spell check and everything else. And then no wonder why they don't know how to spell.
Yeah, right. Or edit. Any of that. Yeah. I've been working on the second bridge.
Steve, we were referring to the different kind of doodle. Doodle with a pen and pencil. Not the other doodle. We won't go to what we used to get up to my high school because this is the wrong channel for that. And YouTube will not let me discuss what we used to get up to at my high school. Yeah. So anyway,
we were all saints. We didn't do anything wrong.
We were saints too, in our own way. Half the teachers knew what we were up to. They knew where we were up, where we were. They just said, just be careful.
Yeah.
We were subversive. Yeah. Nobody ever thought it was us doing it.
Yeah, that too.
We were the super goody two shoes in the school, and we did more interesting things in that school.
The funniest one that I ever known about is the girls. That was just so unbelievable. Like they go to the toilet to have a cigarette, and of course we know that. It's like they're all having a smoke, and as if no one can smell it. And one of the teachers come around. She had a real bad day. She got in there, and all the guys, she just quickly flushed down the cigarettes down the toilet. And the teacher says to them, "Okay, who's got a cigarette? They better give me one, otherwise you're all in detention for the next month."
That was always the cool part when you found out your teacher was human too. It wasn't just this authority figure that you had to look up to, and they were actually humans too.
Yeah, and my g'day MS Hunter, how are you? My geography and commerce teacher, I think they call commerce now economics. When I used to do that in school, he was very surfer mad.
Yeah.
Like on his way to school, because he lived down the coast, he used to go around to all the beaches and check the surf out before he comes to school. Now, unfortunately, there was some kids in my school that decided they're going to skip school and go surfing because the surfing was good. Of course, Mr. Hayward, our teacher, he's gone around and spotted him at Port Kembla Pool or Port Kembla Beach. And he goes, right, comes to the school very, very grumpy. And he goes, who knows where such and such was or whatever. Oh, they're sick today. And he goes, sick my foot. Wait till they come back to school. They come back to school the next day and come to class and goes, right, you, and you, up the front. What were you doing down at Port Kembla Beach? Nothing, sir. And he goes, right, next time the surf is up, here's my phone number. If you don't ring me, you'll be writing out the Encyclopedia Britannica for the next 12 months.
He wasn't mad that they were there. He was mad they didn't tell him there was good surf.
Yeah, exactly. And
That's
the
good.
good thing about it was, he actually created a class out of it
Oh, really?
for those kids. Okay, they want to go surfing. And he formed a class out of it. And of course, you can only go surfing when the surfing was good. So he's like, okay, guys, we've got a good surf on. Let's go to swimming. And I think there was 3 or 4 of them there of our school that ended up going for the world championships in surfing. So there was a benefit out of it at the end.
Well, I mean, like here they had ski club, in the wintertime. So what the hell's different than you have surf club?
Well, yeah, and it was cool. It was tough, but it was cool. And yeah, what's his name? Oh, you didn't want to miss out. You if he told you to do a homework, you do your homework,
Yeah.
because when he used to have to do the lines, like I don't know if that guy there used to do it to his students. Is like you got to write out 100 times. I must do my homework. I must do my homework 100 times. No, he had this book, and back in them days, there were blackboards, with the chalk and all that. Some of the younger ones might not know it, like AJ. He goes, right. For the first offence, he filled up the blackboard once. It was an essay on I must do my homework. And you got to write it out 100 times.
Oh, my God.
If you fail to do that, he goes back to the blackboard and he fills it up twice, and you got to do a word for word. If you miss out a word, you got to do it all over again. On the third offence, you go on detention and you got to write out the Encyclopedia Britannica for 6 months, word for word. Yeah. So I haven't really been doing much on my layout this week. I did do a little bit of what's his name? As you guys seen, I've been trying to do a little bit of animation. I'm thinking about spicing it up a little bit. I might do that towards the end of the week. Put some humour into it. Well, this guy's trying to do some humour now, as I can see. I just got to get some more. Well, he wasn't strict. He wasn't strict, Jeff. He was down. He was down to earth, and he was like, he asked you to do something. He never used to ask us much. He says, "Please do the homework." If you didn't do it, back in them days, you had to do your homework, and a lot of his homework was actually cool. It was actually enjoyable. And then we had, I can't remember what it was. We had one sort of, we had to play out something about economics where people we performed as countries and companies and whatnot, and dealing with shares and ownership and stuff like that. But we started fighting amongst each other. And we had to stop the fighting somehow. And I came up with a plan. I go, I'll tell you what, let's just scrap all this, close the door, lock the door, and lock him out. Because he had a habit of going around for getting a cup of coffee. So he's coming back and trying to come in the classroom, and he's like, what's going on? Going, no, you're the troublemaker. You can't come in. And we've got another half a period to go. And he's like, you guys got me on that one. We learned. But it was a cool school. Yes, we did have a couple of strict teachers, but yeah, well,
I don't think most teachers want to be jerks. I think most teachers, as long as you're cool with them and you followed the basic rules. Most teachers are pretty cool. I don't think I
Yeah.
had any real jerk teachers.
AJ, if he's still here, he'd love this. Like, he caught there was a couple of guys in our class that used to do graffiti around the place. And he goes, look, if you're going to do graffiti, make sure you get your spelling right.
Yeah.
I mean, what's these words you're putting on the wall? It just does not make any sense. If you're going to spell something, spell it properly. And he really rubbed it in, and we just all cracked up laughing. He goes, look, I know you guys are going to do it. I can't stop you, but do it properly. And make it look artistic, at least. That was a bad thing he said, wasn't it? But he had a good point. Now, this week, what I'm going to do is, I do have to go to Sydney. We're going to get some more figures for my layout, since that guy there bought a whole heap of other figures that I can't get from the shop anymore. I've got to hunt around for some around here. Yeah, those ones. And I'm going to try to do some animation the following week and with some figures and whatnot, just to humour it up, spice it up a bit.
That's cool.
I'm enjoying it. It looks like everybody else is enjoying it by the looks of it.
I thought it was really neat.
Yeah, well, it's different.
It is. It's kind of a storyboarding. There's UK guys I know that kind of do the same thing in different ways. Tony Northeastern will throw stories. Alan at Dragon Junction will have stories occasionally. He'll do storylines with his videos. You're not exactly necessarily doing storylines, but you're doing sort of a work bit, But I love the animation. I think it's a cool little addition to your videos. It's really clever, and I've enjoyed it.
It's just something different. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I can't really bring the layout to life, and I think to myself, well, this is one way of bringing life to the layout, and especially a small section. Because really, when you look at it, I've only got a small section, going backwards and forwards can get a little bit boring. So I thought, no, I'll add up to it. Yeah, he's really into his bridge. We're gonna have to get a Rick. Here's the guy that got me on YouTube and pushed me over the edge. So you guys can all blame him. So, yeah, thanks, Rick. Yeah, thanks for all your help and support too.
Hey, Rick.
There's Rick. Hi, Rick. He came in a bit ago.
Yeah, Jeff said that he thought my bridge was done. Half of the bridge is done, Jeff. I got 2 of these. So this is the second one. The other one's done.
So you got to try to copy that bridge to look similar to the other bridge, the other span.
Yeah, at least somewhat. You know what I mean? I rusted that one up pretty good.
Yeah.
So we got to at least do something close to this one. It's okay. I don't mind doing it. I mean, I think it came out good. I don't know if anybody else does, and that's okay if you don't. But I like it. It's just time.
I find it therapeutic. My hands and shoulders been playing up this week, so the only thing I've been working on. Oh Jesus! Oh,
hey.
At least I've got some counterpart to help me out. At least there's someone here, like this guy down here. At least he's from the Pacific Coast. To give me some.
Hello,
support.
everybody from sunny Southern California.
Hey, Jim.
Sunny, yeah, it's sunny here too, but it's bloody cold outside. So, I had a bit of fun this week. I was doing them. G'day, Joe. How are you?
Hey, Joe Raider. What's up, man?
Hi, Joe.
I was trying to put my crane together this week. As you know, I got
Hey, Dave.
I'm doing that kit bashing on my crane.
Wait, how's
and
it
I
coming?
couldn't find my glue. How's it coming along? Yeah, it's not. Couldn't find my glue. So in the meantime, what I decided to do, I started making some attachments for it, for my cranes, like the lifting beams.
Okay.
Let me write.
You say put it up there.
I'm making some lifting beams for it. I'm going to do some swings and
Okay.
chains on the side
Yeah, I
where I
can
can
see
actually
those.
lift the engines and the cars.
That's cool.
And
cool.
this one sort of like got a little bit bent. I don't know how it will work, but there's a big spreader bar. I did use super glue on this because I couldn't find my plastic glue, so might need a bit of bracing up. But what they're going to be used for is to lift the cars and whatnot. And
All right, take care of the plumber.
hey, plumber, yeah, take care.
Hey, plumber.
High and by. It's a drive-by waving.
Drive-by plumber.
Oh, what? You're not inviting us to dinner? Isn't he nice? Isn't he nice? Yeah. Yeah. So I'll make some little attachments, but I just cannot find the sewing box. Yeah, I just can't find the sewing box, and I'm going to have to go up and get some cotton and whatnot to do the slings. I'll do that during the week sometime. Yeah. So that's all I was doing. I don't know if I showed you guys. I did do the I did do my crew car.
Oh yeah.
So
You said that
together.
last week, I think. Did you do that last week?
Yeah, I did, but it's a real rough. I've decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to. I know the paintwork turned out a bit rough, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to what's his name? Weather it out. I'm going to put some decals on it, and then I'm going to really weather it out. So it'll blend in with some of the modern era stuff that I've got. Because it is an old heavyweight. And what's happened is when I put the masking tape on, it's lifted up it roughened up the paintwork. So where it's been all roughed up, because they're metal sides, I'm just going to rust it out and whatnot. So it actually gives it a bit of, what's his name? It gives it an age look. There is a car that I've seen, and maybe some of you guys have seen it. It's an ex-Seaboard heavyweight car. And I believe it was used as a maintenance of a wave vehicle before it got put up for sale.
Thanks, Randall.
So I'm going somewhere along that line.
Well, it's gonna look really nice. On camera, that car looks really almost like salmon colored. What's the color supposed to be? Is it like
It's supposed to be a fluoro orange. It's
orange?
meant to be orange, but when I looked at the can after, I go, this doesn't look right. When I looked at the label, it's got fluoro orange. It's like, bugger, wrong colour. Oh, the cat's typing again. Lucky the rabbit's not playing here.
Hey, Anthony, being from Cleveland over here, I like orange.
Orange and brown, baby.
Orange and
brown.
And
oh, speaking of colors,
You have to be a masochist, but orange and brown all the way, baby.
you know, it takes a real fan, buddy.
Yeah.
You know, fly by nights. I found this pink today at Michael's for the what do you call it? My silos. Let me get it to the right side.
All right. That's going to look pretty
I
neat.
think that'll work. And then I'll do the do lettering in a brown, either black or a brown. Probably brown.
Chocolate brown.
Yeah, like chocolate. So, I don't know. We were talking about colors. Sorry, I hope this light isn't bothering you guys. I kind of need it to
No.
see, but it's kind of in my face. So if it ain't working, let me know, and I'll kind of.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And if you guys remember the flat car, I'll finish putting that together.
Oh, yeah.
That actually had runs and streaks down the side, and I ended up getting a bit of that isopol alcohol to clean out the Tamiya paint, and it came off reasonably good, but it created a bit of a fade. If you can see it there on the on the bottom right lines there, and that's gonna what I decide I'm gonna do with this. I'm just gonna weather this up because I remember back in the steel mill they did do the fluoro colours on the end of the engines and some of the carriages, and every time they used to wash them down, they used to change the colour, the pigmentation of the fluoro orange on them. So I'm just going to weather that down a little bit more on the side and make it look apart. Sorry, not a piece. Look apart.
Yeah, totally different adjective.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, they do sit in the siding for a very long time and only come out when they needed.
Hey, Artie, I want to ask a technical question while you got that there.
Yeah.
Why do they call it a flat car?
Why? You've been hanging around too much with Heath and Thomas with the split rock, haven't you? Maybe because it's flat.
Maybe.
Maybe this guy can explain why it's called flat. This guy can explain why they call it a flat car.
You know, in his picture right now, Jean Ricard looks like from one of those documentaries where they brought, like, we've taken the skull and then we've had people animate it and recreate it, and we're bringing it back to life now. This is what this person from 2,000 years ago would have looked like.
Okay, let me just sort you guys out. We'll keep all the guys to the north in one spot and all the guys to the south in the bottom. How's that sound? Yeah, that looks better.
Whatever makes you
that's right. I messed up.
Hi, Jean Ricard. What's up with you?
Oh, there we go.
Hi, Jean Ricard.
Hey, John Ricard. What did you tell me? Can't talk or something? What?
I think you need your mic going, Jean Ricard. We can't hear you.
Although Anthony said that's good by him.
We got to learn how to lip read, lip sync, lip read. Ah, there we go. No, we still can't hear you. Oh, okay. Is your microphone plugged in? Is your microphone plugged in, Gene? That's the most important thing. Is it plugged in? Nope. Oh, he's got issues. It's not Randall this time. It's
okay. I remember silent movies.
they were fun. That's where I got my animation from, Darryl. How you been anyway,
No,
Darryl?
Artie, I don't know how you did that, but that was a very awesome video. I was just waiting my turn to say personally, Artie, that was completely awesome, bro. Hats off to you, brother. You did a really good job on it. I think I watched it like 3 times.
Well, if people are enjoying it, I will do some more of it.
I didn't like it that much, but I did watch it. I didn't like it enough to watch it 3 times.
Okay, Artie, I'm lying. I actually watched it 5 times.
Right.
Oh,
So
thanks,
he
mate.
made up the difference.
And I did.
That's one way of getting a count up. Yeah. So why
I
can't
even,
we?
I even showed it to my mom. She grabbed the phone out of my hand and she watched the whole thing. She goes, "Hey, that's pretty neat." She goes, "It reminds me of Looney Tunes, Yosemite Sam and Bugs Bunny cartoons." That's what she's referred it to.
Well, that's how all that started. When you look
Exactly.
at realistic, yeah, that's how it started. You have a look at a
Exactly.
lot of the olden day movies
Yeah.
back in the days. It were like the silent movies, like what we're getting from Denmark at the moment, right?
Yeah.
But it was the frame. You was able to tell. You was able. Oh, he's gone now. We embarrassed him.
You might have
Trying to
turned-
restart it and come back on, mate. But back in those films, you can actually see the increments of the actual films. If you see how the film, how the old negative films were when they made the movies, they're all individual frame shots.
Yeah, stop action.
Yeah.
It's called stop
Yeah.
action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ray
And just-
Harryhausen.
And the speed determines on how it all meshes together. Okay, my animation is not the best at this point in time, and Steve's going to get me bloody hung here.
Oh my god! You know what it reminded me of, even more so than Looney Tunes? It was almost like claymation, like
Yeah.
your Mr. Bill, your Gumby. You know,
yeah.
Because that was all stop action animation.
Yeah,
The big name in that from Hollywood was Ray Harryhausen, who did King Kong, the original
I was
1933
just
King
gonna say,
Kong.
it reminded me of that too.
And yeah, it's just
Yeah.
yeah. Well, Steve's put it down here. Not well, Steve. If you have a look at some of the very early Looney Tune cartoons, the real early animation, even the early Popeye ones,
Yeah.
that's how they were done. Hang on a minute, guys.
I think like your early like Mickey Mouse stuff was like the early Mickey Mouse cartoons.
well, I mean, that is how original cartoons were done. You had what was called a cell, and basically you'd have the cell, they would trace the background, or they would create a background cell, depending on if they were going to have the background move or not. And then they would just literally trace over it and then move the character, change the expression of the character 1 micromillimeter, and then just literally make 400, 500, 5,000, 10,000 frame pictures of that, and then you just filmed it.
That'd take forever, man.
It does. And when you
Like Weathering the Bridge.
when you make video today, you're still doing, even with live action, you're doing the same thing. You're just taking 60 pictures per second. We call it frames per second, but it's literally 60 individual photographs, but you have moved slightly in each photograph, and over 1 second, over 2 seconds, over a minute, you are now moving, and it looks like what we call live action film, but it's still just a series of pictures. All right, Jean-Ricard, we'll give you one more chance. Have you got it right?
Can you hear me now?
Sadly,
Yes.
yes.
Okay, then it works for me now.
No, it's not working. We cannot hear you.
Now we lost
Of
30.
course
Where
you
do you
can
go?
hear me.
No, we
Otherwise,
cannot
I
hear
wouldn't
you.
Reply.
I'm just guessing. I'm great at reading lips.
We hear you, buddy.
Oh, I read those lips, and same to you, buddy.
You guys are like an old married couple.
Too much like it. It's scary. I've only known this guy a year.
I thought I had to come on this evening because you treated me so bad last night, Anthony.
I treated you bad.
Yeah, you didn't want to adopt me.
Uh-oh.
No, Joyce and I actually considered different ways we could do it. You weren't paying attention, apparently. We were talking about getting the family raid into Miniature Wonderland in Hamburg next year.
Yeah, but that's next
We were
year.
just trying to figure out how we'd explain that you're Joyce and Mai's child.
Yeah, but that was why we had to say that I'm adopted.
Yeah, we'd have to do that because otherwise they'd say he doesn't look anything like you. But yes, he mysteriously looks a lot like the mailman.
Yeah, always blame it on the mailman.
Well, he does ring twice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's bad.
What happened to Artie?
I don't get paid enough to make him good.
You mean you don't get paid to come on Artie's show? He pays me well.
No, this was my criminal punishment. It was this or jail.
I think I'd have gone to jail. I'd have gone to jail. Do the time. Shorter, less painful. What the hell is he?
I don't know. Artie disappeared.
What kind of host is that?
Yeah, he just said, oh, there he is.
Sorry about that, guys.
No, that's okay, Artie.
Just had an unexpected visitor turn up.
What did the police want?
No, it wasn't the police. No, it wasn't the police.
Okay, the customers then.
No, it wasn't that.
Yeah,
No.
to pay child support. Keep knocking.
Oh, shivs. No, they haven't found me yet.
It was the Wombat Abuse Society. They wanted to talk to you.
Oh, it was funny this morning. I went out for a walk and there was a car parked in the. If some of you guys see some of my streams, where I live, there's a football field across the road. And there's a car park there, and there was a car in there and someone taking photos in my direction. So I've got an idea who it is. I guess it's the insurance company. So anyway, I rang up the police and saying, "Oh, there's someone dealing with drugs in the car park here, and there's kids about." Went to the store, come back, and here's the police.
Nice.
Stripping out the car.
That's nice.
Hey. Well, it's one way to skin the cat, I suppose, eh? Well, there has been dealings going on in there, and yeah.
Isn't that what you call reasonable doubt?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You thought
Yeah,
there
it was
was
illegal.
something criminal going on, so you were a good citizen and called the police.
Yeah, and there's kids about. There's like 5, 6-year-old kids out and about playing in the park. And YouTube police checking on me.
We know what it was. The car was parked in the way of his view of the girls at the park playing in the mud wrestling.
Well, no, that's if you really wanted to get him beat up by the police, tell him he's taking picture of the kids.
There you go.
That would have really had the police yanking him out of the car and giving him the what for.
Yeah, I could have, but just having kids and having dealing drugs around with these young kids is just as serious down in here. He
wasn't sniffing the kids, was he?
Yeah. They wouldn't. Let's put it this way: they would not be walking. They would not be walking from there. Some of the locals would have dealt with it. Yeah, because we don't take too kindly to that.
No.
Yeah, the YouTube police. No, they have. They only check on me when I'm talking on Jerry's channel for some reason. Yeah,
Really?
Steve, yeah, you are kind of right. Yeah, it is a stop action, but there's some that Gromit and
Wallace and Gromit?
Wallace and Gromit. That's the one I was thinking about. You see, here's the way he does. They do that animation. That's a stop action animation.
Yep.
And it takes them forever to do that. I'm not going to go that far in advance at this point. And I've seen the way they make that stuff. And it's just unbelievable. I mean, I've got I've got a distant friend of mine that lives up near Sparky's Way that does do the artwork and whatnot for the animation for uh, for Pixar or whatever they call them.
Picture.
Like the like the movie Shrek and whatnot, and doing the animation in the background, make it look 3D-ish. He's up around Toronto way. I do need to look him up next time I see him. The background, make it look 3D-ish. He's up around Toronto way. I do need to look him up next time I see him. I'll get him myself in the background. Okay. Yeah, Jerry's got him on standby, but even Jeff, even Jerry was confused this one particular day when I was on his stream, on his live stream, and it was like, why was my comment put in for review? I'm like, I didn't say anything out of the ordinary. I didn't say nothing bad or whatnot. There were a couple of words in there, so I decided I'm going to reword it. And when I reworded it, they still put it up for review. I'm like, we were like, what's going on here? It's sorry to say, but it's just got beyond a joke.
Unless you mention certain key words, usually YouTube, we have this idea of YouTube as this big boogeyman looking into everything. Now they have algorithms built into their computers that, if, for example, if you're in a video and you mention what we call the showstopper, the pandemic that's been around, if you mention that by word, they will hold, but their algorithm, their computers pick up the minute you said that word and it goes right to it, and they review a couple of minutes before, a couple of minutes after it to see if you were passing on false information or something like that, and then they'll assign it or whatever. But and if you're monetized, they'll hold your monetization until they review it.
They don't want to.
Usually it's somebody reports it. What happens is somebody, even to be a lark, or they're upset with you, or they report it. That's when you click on a comment and one of them is report, and that's when YouTube comes in. But usually it's not that YouTube comes after you or your comment. Somebody reported you or your comment.
Yeah.
I've been kicked off Facebook a few times because somebody said something that I considered extremely ignorant or stupid, and I went at them and they turned around and flagged it. It's not Facebook came after me. That person threw a poopy fit, and then it went to those people who decided, yes, you were mean to that person. You're off Facebook for 24 hours or whatever.
Hey, Heath, how are you, buddy?
Hi, Heath.
Hi, Heath.
Hi, Heath.
We're talking about YouTube, Heath. We're not talking about the showstopper.
Heath, how
we're
are you?
It's just the time to come in. We talked trains earlier. Artie was talking about the animation on his train video.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, we've been talking trains, and look, we have got something train orientated going on here at the moment. You see, there. We're watching how to weather a bridge.
Oh, I thought Dave was a dentist doing bridge work.
That's a good one. I wish I'd make more money.
As far as I can see, you are the only dentist here tonight, Anthony.
What's that?
You're the only dentist here tonight. We saw you mistreat the poor animal, the pure dinosaur.
Treat him. He had food stuck between his teeth, and I cleared it for him. That was being nice.
No, you were evil. You used what do you call it? A tweezer. Yeah, that thing there.
It's what I had. It's what I had. Does this look like a dentist office that I would have the proper tools? I used what I had. Very gentle.
It's under your bench there, Anthony.
Hey, Heath, make sure you pack a sleeping bag for tomorrow night, because everyone who's here, I, Derail Daryl, am going to be hosting Sidetrack Sunday tomorrow night. It's going to be at the normal time at 8 o'clock. So, yeah, Heath, make sure you pack your make sure you pack your sleeping bag, because I go live. I don't go off until it's dead.
So what? So who are you doing it with, Daryl?
Actually, I'm going to have a guest on. He was here. If maybe he's still here. My guest is going to be AJ from AJ Weathering. AJ is going to actually be weathering a car, and he's also going to showcase a Derail Daryl car that he had made. So he's very talented, everybody. And so it'll be 8 o'clock. It's normal time, Sidetrack Sunday. I'm stepping in for Jason, the train freak.
Cool.
Jason had some other things he had to take care of. So,
so hang on, let me work this out. So you said 8 o'clock Eastern, so that's 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I can do that. Are you supplying lunch and dinner?
Hey, I might bring a bag of chips.
It better be hot.
Is it still in the middle of the night, Daryl?
No, I'm in. Okay, everybody. I'm in Southern California. Actually, AJ from AJ Weathering, he's from California. He's in Bakersfield. He's like a couple hours away from me, and I'm in Southern California. So my time here to go on at 8 o'clock New York time would be 8 o'clock. So 5 o'clock here, 8 o'clock there. So I'm not changing the time or anything like that. This is going to be normal Sidetrack Sunday.
And when a question for you, Anthony, when are you normally starting your streams?
My live streams are Fridays. My live streams are Fridays 3:30 Eastern time or 9:30 p.m. your time.
Yeah, but I'm trying to figure out how far apart there is between you and Daryl.
3 hours.
Yeah, 3 hours. 3 hours.
3 time zones. Yep.
And which is 5:30 in the morning here. And when you're drugged out, yeah, it's too early in the morning to wake up.
I hear you, Artie. But I know, brother, you'll make it.
Oh, I just couldn't do it the other night. What was yesterday morning? I just could not do it. I was in so much pain. Friday night, my time. I mean, I couldn't get to sleep. I was in that much pain. And I got up. I took some painkillers. Hopefully it was going to knock me out, and it didn't. I managed to see Steve Childers' live stream, and the painkiller still didn't kick in until about an hour after his show. And I was just gone gaga after that, and I just couldn't get up. I didn't get up till about 12 o'clock.
I'm sure, Artie, if you had watched Anthony's show, you wouldn't have felt any pain. He is just like taking a painkiller. You would have fallen asleep without pain.
Yeah, see, if he would have started the streaming earlier, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
But then again, he probably would have got me arrested.
Yeah.
It would have got me arrested for making too much noise. And 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, somebody will be dobbed me in for throwing a party in the odd hours in the morning, which would be very unusual. Thank you, Heath. Yeah, thank you. Actually, I thank you as well for all your support and to get me there, and Anthony and Jean and Dave, Daryl, and everyone else. Hello, Low Country. How are you? I didn't think I would make 200. I thought, 150, 180. I was sitting on 184 for a long period of time.
Well, that just goes to show, Artie, you need to do more of those stop films. Maybe that's what put you over the edge.
That's what did put me over the edge.
There you go.
I mean, I put the offer out to get me up to 200 before Ray and Rick got to their 500, that didn't work. They just ended up taking all the subs anyway. That's another story. Well, as soon as I put that animation up, it just skyrocketed. So I'm going to keep at it. I just got to. I haven't got the ability like what some other people have in.
But also, you have in the last 3 weeks, you've been posting a lot more, so it's going out more.
Yeah.
I'm getting a bit more.
You've been doing more. Here's my layout. Here's what I'm working on. Here's me running my operations. And then you added the animation because you were starting to climb a bit even before. And maybe the animation did put that. But you just, I mean, as somebody who watches everything that you put out much more content in the last 3 weeks than you had been maybe the previous 4 or 5 months before that. That helps too, so getting it out there.
No, not really, Anthony. When I had a look at the views on the content, I've been trying to put out at least 3 to 4 contents out a week, and usually on every second day after my live stream. But it was just trying to pick what would tickle people's fancy, so to speak, without being rude. Right?
It's really hard to say, Artie. I mean,
It's really hard to say because
the crowd is tickled.
When I thought I got something that people will be interested in, it goes up. Then I'll do the same again in a different format, and everything's gone dead. I know you guys going to summer, so you guys are not on as much. And it's hard to pick. It's like trying to find a business to see what will sell, what people will be interested in, just to get that. And
well,
it looks like I found something.
Like tonight, Artie.
Yeah,
I just picked up the new scale trains, and that's kind of what's been running in the background. The new 40-foot container wells with their brand new containers, and I just decided I'm going to run them, and I gotta say on the scale trains, thumbs up on the scale trains well cars. They're 40-foot. They're beautiful. They're a little bit more expensive, but I've been running them now for a couple hours before the show and earlier, and they just never skipped a beat. And like everybody's done and said, they're a little tight to get them in the wells, but you kind of want them tight because you don't want them moving all over the place. So so that's what I am running tonight is the new ones, and I actually love them. So anybody who's thinking about maybe buying the scale trains, the new ones that they just put out, I give them 2 thumbs up. They're really good, and I didn't have to do anything to them. So there you go. So there's my 2 cents on the scale trains.
Oh, cool, fantastic. Well, I need to get some 40-foot well cars, the modern ones. Because as most of you that follow me will know that most of the American trains that I have are the ones that used to run through Spartanburg in South Carolina. And one of the most common cars in that area now, mainly hauled by not Southern Pacific, Norfolk Southern, is the 40-foot well cars.
Yeah.
Because they actually use them to shuttle the containers from there to
well, it's just like what Martin
down to the wharf down the coast. I can't think of the name of the place down. It starts with C.
Yeah, just like Martin said, 40 foot is ocean going, which makes sense. And even I today see a lot of 40-foot and 20-foot containers, but still I see more 53s than I do anything else.
Yeah.
I think the 53s are more like intercontinental, like not ocean going, but more like across the U.S.
There is now tend to be a trend. But we've also noticed it here in Australia. The 48 footers, 45 and 40, the 48-foot containers are becoming common now.
Well, I have 45-foot containers on top of some of my 40-foot containers, and it kind of gives it a different feel and different look. I feel 48 on top of them would be a little too much because the 40-foot well cars are definitely a lot smaller. But that's also what makes a home model railroad layout. It makes your container train look a lot larger than it really is. So, I have a whole slew of 53s, but I have found on film, because look, I'm a viewer. I'm a viewer to everybody's channel, and I see what goes on and I see what looks good and maybe what doesn't look so good. But I can tell you, as me being a viewer, when I see people run 40-foot containers, it just makes their layout much, much bigger. So I choose to run mostly 40-footers. So that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, well, you see, that's exactly right, Daryl. I mean, there was an article in the Model Railroader magazine many years back where a guy turns around and puts in that you can make your. He made an article saying you can make your small layout look big by your rolling stock.
Yeah.
And it's not the size, and it goes to basically the size of your rolling stock that you are got behind your train.
Well, yeah.
So in that case, we always joke around, so, the larger they are, the bigger they are. It's not always the best. Use smaller carriages, wagons, right? Use 40-foot, 45-foots, and put a whole heap of them behind. And when a train goes past,
right,
it gives that false illusion that's a long train.
Exactly.
It's like with me now, because my layout is small and doing a switching, three cars and my switching area is full. So what I end up doing, I end up getting those 20-foot, excuse me, those 20-foot, like the coal wagons. Actually, these are smaller than 20-foot. These are about 15 feet in real life.
Yeah.
Right. But the other ones that I had,
I hear exactly. But here it is again. Mine's more modern layout. So I run 6-axle locomotives, and that's why all my Pico switches are number 8. They run just fine through number 6s, but number 8s, when I'm backing them into certain areas, number 8s just run flawless.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, Anthony, I just wanted to say to you, Anthony, I joined your live stream the other day, and I just, I had no idea how cool your layout is. I mean, I really got a chance to really look at it, and even though it was on and off, but I didn't realize what a beautiful layout you have.
I don't know. I thank you for saying it's beautiful. It's not even remotely done. It's a big area. And I do have long range plans for it. I've been sitting on hold for 2 years. It's like any layout. It's set up to run the way that pleases me. And
Exactly.
I have ADD, so I just like watching trains go in circle. I don't need automation and stuff like that. It serves that purpose. I mean, I've had friends come in and go, "Oh, why didn't you do this and build this 2-layer effect?" And it's like, well, I could have, but it really started with the town of Delmenhorst, which actually, if you were looking at it's that way, but in reality, it's that way. I'm pointing at it, but that is the only part of my layout, because that is based on an actual city in Germany. The station and the bus station are 100% scratch built by me, recreations of the actual station and the bus center, which is in front of the station. And eventually, many of these buildings are also not scratch built, but they are kit bash, where I take models and take different pieces and make them look like some buildings that are down the streets of Delmenhorst. But most of those are buildings that will come off and go on the other side as I add to it. But it's a fun layout for me. My thing is I've got lots of cool trains. That's what I like. I've got lots of cool trains.
And I hear you, Anthony. And I'm the same. I have a lot of cool trains. And I caught here and there, about the cost of it. And I remember you saying, it's in the thousands and thousands. And that's the same thing for me here. I mean, I couldn't even put a value on what's in my garage, but I can tell you it's in the tens.
Well, that was just it. Somebody said it's that you've spent tens and tens of thousands of dollars on your layout. And I'm like, no, I have not. And then I start thinking about it. Yeah. And then the chief executive of the Dodge Financial Institution is back here. She knows how much I've spent, but I don't want to add it up because then it might be in that term tens and tens. But I don't think I'm in multiples of tens yet, but I'm definitely over. Yeah, I'm definitely in the 5-digit range, which scares me because Joyce and I, not to have any violence, but we scratched by many, many years of our lives by our own choice. We married young. We had our kids young. We both chose an occupation that didn't pay great. We knew that going in, but the idea was that at our age now, it would pay off, which it is. But we're so used to, we got all our kids through college and we did all that. And it's a little weird, especially now that I've retired. But we still have that for example, today we just went out and bought a new bed. And
that's very important. I can tell you that right now. Bed's very, very
new bed important. We bought. Now we bought a new bed, a new fancy mattress 2 years ago, and that proved to be a waste of money. But I think we spent more money on this bed than the previous 3 beds combined. And to be able to actually just go do that is a blessing. It's not, we're not rich, but damn, when I look at what I've been able to spend on trains the last few years, and again, it's been nickel and diming here, saving up. I have my train budget, but I'm sure everybody's done their live channels about budgeting for model trains, but German trains are more expensive. I laugh at some of the UK channels where they're screaming, I had to pay the equivalent of $190 for a loco. This is ridiculous. And I'm like, my cheapest loco is $190.
Right.
That's your car's $190.
Yeah, no, Anthony, explain one more time. I didn't catch it. You were explaining Markland track, and I think a lot of the people on chat, even me, I didn't get the gist of it, but I know I have a friend who's in Markland, and it's very expensive. What is the difference? You said I didn't realize. So is your track 3 rail?
Yes.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that.
Right. Well, and the thing is, as people come in, if they ask questions, I try to do a quick run by because most of the people in my chat have been there for 2 years and they kind of already know. And I do have videos up that there's a series called The Markland Outsider where I explain, I think it's episode 3. I explain the track. But yeah, it is 3 rail, but Markland makes, today they make 2 types of track and they're lettered. This is called C track. Okay. I don't know if Artie wants to make it. It's very difficult to put a price on.
Artie, make it big.
Artie, make me big, Artie.
You can make it so big.
I could have. All right, so again, I will try to hold this in the camera where you can see that.
Can see.
There's a 3rd rail, but it's done as a series of what we call nubs.
Okay.
And then underneath is where you have the full metal. Joyce is waving hi to everybody.
Hi, Joyce.
So underneath is the 3rd, and then all your metal contacts are right here. Now, this is their pre-bedded. This is pre-bedded. It comes already on, but this is where some people don't like it because it's not color, except, ballast. The ballast, it's not realistic ballast color, except there are many parts of Germany where this is the color of ballast. And it's also a little bit pre-aged. If you look at the metal there, it's not super shiny.
Right.
It's not rusted up to the level some people want, but it's also not bright, shiny, new out of package Pico. But anyhow, there's C-track. And then if you just want basic track that you lay yourself, it's called K-track.
Okay.
But C-track is what we call the Meriklin system, because everything about Meriklin was redesigned about 30 years ago, 40 years ago, to fit digital. There's an argument who was the first company to talk about digital. Some companies said, hey, we were trying to do it in the mid 70s. Meriklin was the first one at the International Toy Show in 1979 to say, we are coming with digital, and here is what we're going to do. But what makes C-track so popular, because even among Meriklin train enthusiasts, C-track is the most popular track. Even though K-track is much more realistic, most Meriklin people do C-track. And the reason C-track is so popular is the joining, no soldering, and anything you want to attach to it. Anything. You want to add lights. You want to add turnouts, signals like heading into your station, all your various station signals. And I'm ignorant of all the different names for those signals. Well, they have wires that plug straight in and pick up the power right here on these little connector tabs. So there's no drilling holes. There's no bus wiring underneath your system unless you want to run things separately. So everything can be done under the track. You just connect it here, no drilling into, no plugging into all these other sockets. It just plugs straight in and it all gets powered by the juice sent by the Central Station 3. And that's what is the benefit I learned. But again, I got into this before I knew what I was getting into. If I were smarter, people would have talked me into DC because DC's cheaper. You don't have as much, and I wasn't going to build a fancy layout, so I wouldn't have needed to worry about true digital. But in a way, it's the digital that really hooked me. It's all the cool bells and whistles that you can do with the new model trains compared to what I saw in the 1960s as a kid. So it's an amazing system where, again, just to give an example compared to how a lot of people do it. Here is a turnout. Okay. Here is a turnout. Here is the decoder. Here is the motor. It's all underneath. When I plug the track in and I connect my track, as soon as I connect a power source, my Central Station 3 reads that decoder. It's already loaded in. I don't have to do anything. It already acknowledges that it's a turnout motor. All I have to do is give it a name to help me remember where it is, like Northwest Turnout 5 or whatever name you want to give it. Main route Turnout 6, main route right hand Turnout 7, whatever you want to call it. So it is a great, if you want to call it digital for dummies, it's a great system. But again, it is 3-rail. Now they have similar things in 2-rail called Trix. Meriklin owns Trix, Trix. And you can have pretty much the same ease, but it's 3-rail that really makes this fly. But 3-rail is not everybody's cup of tea. So there, Artie, you can make me small again.
Thank you, Anthony. I thought that might be a pretty good thing for, I didn't really know, and I only caught part of it because, but I thought that was really, really interesting. So thank you, Anthony, for that. I really appreciate that. And thank you, Artie, for, where did Artie go?
We lost him again. Yeah, in a lot of ways, it is like Lionel Fast Track. And of course, up until 1955, Heath, and you probably have studied this now more than me, but up until the mid 50s, all model trains were 3-rail. Jean Ricard is showing up a piece right now. This is old Meriklin track called M track, right?
Yeah, but this is the real old with center rail.
Where it's got the full center rail through it. Yeah, that's the old M track.
It's before 56.
Yes.
And then you have this type of track here. And you can see here you have the third rail underneath, just like on Anthony's C track.
Right. When they switched to a continuous third rail or contiguous third rail to the nubs. Right. And when did that happen, Jean Ricard? That was in
That was in 56.
Thank you. Okay.
They changed to this type of track. But those two types of tracks here are compatible. You can fix them together. They go together without
any problem. Right. Yeah. Any M track is still compatible. New style versus old style, and old style is pre-56, and new style is 56 to when did they stop making M track? It was in the 80s, wasn't it?
In 85, I think.
Okay. Yeah. But you're right, Heath. A lot of O scale and Lionel guys know three rail. There's a guy I love to watch. He's O scale and slot cars. Fun guy, just funny when he's doing his rail fanning and everything else. Sometimes he pops in on here. But O gauge and slot cars, he runs a lot of Lionel three rail, and he uses both fast track and other stuff as well. Gus Hadley, the lunatic from Arno, is another guy that runs Lionel. And so, yes, Americans that do Lionel and Lionel O gauge, or anybody that does, what is it? Is it one scale is automatically three rail, I think. G scale, one scale, one of those is automatically, it's all three rail.
Yeah, I didn't think your trains. Yeah, I didn't think your trains were O scale, but when I saw Heath's comment, I thought to myself, "Oh, wait a minute, no, Heath's right," because you're kind of relaying that to it. It's kind of like three rail, but it's not. Your trains, Anthony, are actually HO, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. See, I learned something. Hey, they say you always learn something new every day, and I learned something new. That's why I asked the question.
Right. Jean Ricard, what were we saying?
Actually, the original Trix system was also three rail.
Right.
Okay.
And they used the three rails in that way that to make a circuit, you need two power lines, if you can say so. So Trix made it so that you had the center rail as a common. And then one of the locomotives used the right rail and the other locomotive used the left rail, so that you could at that time run two different trains in DC mode on the same track, but in different directions.
Without having the isolation area. Right.
Between
and when Merklin bought Trix, they kind of brought that idea and put it into three rail. But the whole point of AC power was you didn't have to worry about like reverse loops. Like, that's the big deal. In AC, you don't have to. Now, a lot of guys that do AC rails, they do for block detection and everything else, they do isolations. They do break off areas, but you don't have to. In DC, if you're going to have any kind of a reverse loop or anything coming back, you have to create those dead areas.
If you look on this,
to avoid shorting out your system, but Trix found a way around it.
If you look on this old track, you can see this is actually a contact giving track where you have a break in the rail here and a break in the rail there.
Right.
And then you have a short circuit with the wheels between the two rails, and then you can put the connections into the sockets here, and then you can get an impulse from the train.
Wow. Wow, did I learn something new today? I had no idea.
So that's how you can, for example, if you put this track into the layout, you when the train passes this track, it sends a signal to the switch, and you change a route on the switch, or you make a signal go to red when you passes this track if you want to.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, so I have one more question. Okay, so this is for anybody. So Anthony, with your system, can you take a DC or DCC regular American? Well, I call it American, or scale
Yeah.
trains, or can you put it on your track and run it that way?
Right as it would be out of the box, no, you have to convert it because the pickups.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah,
No,
this
I
is
get
what I
it.
was showing. Like, this is not a train, but this is a self-powered car. This is one of my clean
Okay.
cars.
All right.
And you can even see it in small. This is the pickup. This is the
Okay.
third rail pickup. The
Okay.
two outer sides are your neutrals.
Neutrals. Okay.
So this is your power pickup. But
Okay.
this also is you also still have power pickups and powered bogies and everything, but it all comes through this pickup.
I got
Now,
it.
if you look at again, some people argue whether this is accurate or not, but Merklin likes to say that by still using the ski, because this is, I don't want to say it's outmoded tech, but people who are purists, people who want true looking locomotives, they hate picking up their locomotive and seeing the ski. Also, the ski makes a sound as it's going around your layout that is not natural. So purists, even in Germany that run 3-rail, one of their big complaints is the ski. But the ski going across those nubs actually gives you more contact area than your pickup wheels on your bogie. So you have less likelihood of dead spots where your train will suddenly slow down. Yes, it can happen. Anybody watching my live stream knows I have a bad track where certain of my locomotives, apparently my new 245 being one of them, coming off my incline when they come down track 3, which is what I call it. It's the third go. It's the shortest of my full length tracks. There is a bad turnout. And I've got 3 locomotives and 2 powered cars that when they come down, they hit that turnout because it's right at the end of the incline. Most of my locomotives handle it, but you do get a bit of a short because this thing suddenly bounces up and crosses. So it shorts out my system for like 1/50th of a second. All my cars pause for a second and then go. It's not enough to short out my system, but it creates a temporary short. But again, part of that's because my central station 3 is prepared for that and compensates and keeps everything straight. Now I can short out my system and cause my central station 3 to either shut it all down or even switch off if I get a bad derailment where the cars cross over 2 tracks or something like that. But the ski is the big thing. It's supposedly I'm not the mathematician in this field. Supposedly it gives you more contacts, and so your trains are less likely to hit dead areas where, like when you see somebody messing with an old train, like trying to get it going because it has a much more extended contact area along the rails.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anthony has got another. You see, Anthony has got another option what he can do with some of his 2-rail stuff, or with his electric trains, with his electric engines. But it'd be a very expensive exercise and a very tedious exercise, and that's by doing overhead pantographs, catenary, right?
Yes, there are some locomotives that you can actually power them from the catenaries, and and that way you can power like your AC cars through the catenaries and DC cars from the track, or vice versa. Yep.
Yeah, he can do that, but that comes down to this. But
that
also,
would be very expensive, and also finding the locomotives that are, because there are fewer and fewer, at least in the German market, that are powered through the catenaries.
Yeah, you see, like for example, like,
some people say,
like with that with your Czech locomotive that you got, the Bravo one that you bought, the one that
no, it's Acme. It's an Acme. It's an Italian.
Yeah, the Acme one. You see, like with that one there, for him to get that going on his layout, the only quick fix alternative to that is for him to put catenary all around the layout, or at least on one track. But
no, because even though this does have the catenaries on it, they're not powered. So I would have to turn around and install a powering system that read off the catenaries on the top of the train to power the motor, just like I would have to turn around and put a third rail on it.
Yeah, but that'll be an easy fix. That'll be an easy fix. A lot easier than doing the 3-rail. But at the end of the day, it's
John Ricard's got one that
price,
powers that way.
and the other thing is,
Oh, cool.
which I am finding a problem, is finding enough components to do a layout. So I'm trying to get enough of the same kind to do my layout, and that's nice.
I currently have, while you're looking at
The brass? Oh, never mind.
yeah, because what Jean Ricard is showing is a locomotive that is powered by the catenaries, the catenaries. I'm sorry, I'm so used to British channels who say it catenaries, I forget as Americans we say catenary. I say it the British way, catenaries. Exactly, Martin, and I've learned my lesson.
The way they did it was they actually had a switch here.
Yeah.
There, where you can change between
Yep.
the pickup shoe and the pantograph.
You could run it both ways. Yep.
Yeah, but not at the same time.
Right. It could only do one or the other. You had the switch.
Yeah.
Like
That's very cool, John. That's very cool. Thank you for showing that. That's what I asked, because I wanted to try to keep this as much as train talk as much as possible. So, when I went on Anthony's live, I was impressed.
What are you trying to say? We don't talk enough trains on my channel?
Artie, calm down. I'm going to have to put you on timeout.
But
I'm here to help you out. I'm here to help you out.
3 locomotives that were DC locomotives that I sent to a guy in California that I consider a friend now, that he has converted to AC for me. Because again, this is the problem where we have multiple uses. From the German world. Now, actually, the German word is Wechselstrom, and but Wechselstrom is AC, alternating current, and DC, direct current, which is how the power is distributed to the locomotive. And then there are rocket scientists that try to argue the American system calls itself AC, but it's actually DC. It's still direct current. It's still, but the way the power is delivered into the motor is still AC.
May I stop you at a moment?
Yeah.
Because the older locomotives from Märklin, with the old type of motors, the new ones that you get actually has a DC motor in it.
Yes.
With a permanent. But the old locomotives, like the one I showed you, the green one here, has they actually call it an all current motor. And that's because instead of a permanent magnet making the field, they have a field magnet that makes it possible to run the motor both on AC current but also on DC current. But if you run it on DC current, you cannot change direction, because the direction change in old locomotives are done by a relay that you have to give a certain amount of currency. What do you call it, when a higher level of power than you use for driving the train?
Right.
You see,
you have to increase the voltage.
Yeah.
See, if I show you guys these engines here, like the one in the left where the cursor is, and the one on the far right, they're both the same engines. Now, they're Australian electric engines. Now, the way they are set up at this point in time, they are set up to pick up power on the rails. Now, it does have a switch inside, but I've got to pull the shell apart, where I can actually have them pick up the power on the catenary, which is the pantographs up the top. Now, when I'm operating the train, I've got to make sure that I've got the contact all the time to the overhead power lines, and secondly, that I don't take it off the route, because as soon as I take it off the route, it will stop running. And it has happened in real life too. So, so you've got advantages and disadvantages about it. And there's other ones here that they do have a switch underneath of that one there, because the wheel spacing underneath is so close together. They didn't have enough room to put a switch underneath it. And I have run them separately.
One of the reasons that Märklin has stopped making the electric locomotives running on catenary is because you get some spikes each time it makes a passing of a point, for example. Mm-hmm. You get a spark, and then your central station shuts down.
Yep.
And that's why they have dropped it and say we run it all on the track, on the 3-rail track with the points in the middle.
Right.
But it's funny you say that, Eugene, because those electric engines that I showed you just a moment ago in real life, when they used to go over what we call the Blue Mountain Sea, which is the big mountain range going west out of Sydney, yes, they used to have two of those pantographs up to get the power. Now, they used to draw up that much power from the lines, and when they used to arc, the pantograph used to weld itself onto the overhead wires. And when it welded itself onto the overhead wires, it was yanking all the wires down. So you can imagine a nightmare. They're always continually replacing the wiring up there. Mm-hmm. And but eventually they ended up removing it because that was an issue. Now,
but the reason why they have that problem is because the wire isn't big enough. You simply take so much currency out of the so much voltage out of the wire that you start welding instead of using it as an electric supply to the locomotive.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's what they were doing. They were drawing more power. These engines were drawing more power than what, as you're saying,
when you put the lines up. Yeah, when you put the lines up, the trains did so much power. Yeah. But then we make more powerful trains, but you keep the same old lines, and all of a sudden you get those problems. Right? It's
when they replaced it with, because they were more powerful at their time. They were more powerful than our diesel engines to get over the mountain. So you can imagine, like back in them days, our most powerful engine when those ones came out.
But that's generally when you look upon electric locomotives, they are generally stronger than diesel locomotives are. They can create more effect on the traction with electric locomotives than you can with diesel locomotives.
Yeah. Well, when we look at when they came out, the average diesel engine was between 1,200 horsepower and I think the biggest horsepower at that time was about 1,800. These ones here were 4,500 to 5,000 horsepower each. So they were loading them up, going up over the mountain. Now, when they had the replacement electric engines, they didn't have that issue. where they were drawing up too much current, and that worked out a lot more successfully. But
But this is
it was a
also,
learning curve.
but then there's other issues that come in. For example, terrain and landscape will affect whether you're going to have electric or diesel or both. And that's why you have DMUs, EMUs, and then your double, DEMUs, diesel and electric. Because like in south central Germany, especially into the Alps, Bavaria, and into that part of Baden-Württemberg, it's almost all diesel trains because they just can't get all the wires in that area. But then you go into Switzerland and they have a lot of wiring through there and run electric trains up and around through the Alps. But for some reason, Germany, they just say, screw it, we're going to run the diesels on these lines and not bother with electric. But you will see, for example, I don't have them here. They're either on the layout or they're put away on the shelves over there. You will see one electric 101 pushing or pulling a rake of 9 IC cars, or you'll see a double diesel 218 to pull the same number of cars because the new electric has more power.
Yeah.
It also has something to do with what kind of electric frequency you use on the line. If you run the line with direct currency, you cannot simply not pull so much effect out of the electricity system as you can with an AC system.
Yeah.
So in Europe, they have different types of electric systems. And the longer they have run electric trains, the older the system are, the more inefficient the system is also.
Yep. And that's why on any international train that's electric, as Jean-Ricard will know, they have many, many catenaries because they have different catenaries for different countries' electrical systems. They're already preset for that. Like I've got my ICE, the old ICE 3 I had was considered an international, so it had 3 sets of double catenaries. Because it was going through Germany, France, and the Netherlands, and it was 3 different power systems.
Yeah,
so it had 3 sets. Whereas my IC4, which is a strictly inside Germany, only has 2 sets of catenaries.
Well, see, once upon a time they actually had
about pantographs, Anthony.
Yeah, pantographs.
Not the wires.
Right. I'm sorry, pantographs. I mean pantographs.
Yeah.
The last 2 sentences I said where I said catenaries, I meant pantographs.
Yeah. So with the pantographs, originally, like with the French, they actually had 4, and then it gone down to 3. I don't know what they've gone down to, 2 or 1 now, where they working on standardizing a lot of the electrical current on the international rail systems. I think it's down to 2 now between the east and the western blocks of Europe, where they've got 2 different power sources.
But for example, there was a mentioning of 1500 volts DC in New South Wales. In a remark. In Denmark, we have the suburban trains around Copenhagen. They run on 1500 volts DC.
Yeah.
But the electrification of the main lines is 25,000 volts AC.
Yeah.
So there's an immense power difference between the 2 systems. So if you put on the commuter trains of Copenhagen, if they come under the wrong catenary at the rail station, they would burn the train out. It would just flash off and burn out.
Yep.
You see, like Anthony was just recently was talking about Switzerland, but see, Switzerland was smart when they done the electrics in their regions, particularly with their trains. You have a look at them. a lot of their power comes from hydroelectric plants, which is scattered all around the Alps.
Yeah.
So they got no shortage of electricity. Of
Right.
course, that's the rail system. But when we're
Yeah.
talking about like what Gina was talking about, different voltages, I remember back when it was still Yugoslavia, and now it's Croatia, where there was one, I can't remember the name of the place now. When we used to go from Zagreb into Rijeka, which is going towards the seaside near the Italian border, we got to a point where the electric engines would only be able to work halfway along the platform. So what they used to do is they used to come along the platform, drop the pantographs, and coast and stop. And then they switched the engines around. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was a border issue. Well, mind you, I was only still young then. I was only about 10 years old, so I didn't know much about it. But later on, I ended up finding out what it was all about.
But
From
it
that
is a
point-
border issue. It's just a border between two electrical systems.
Well, that's right. But I thought it was more of
Political border issue.
political border,
Yeah.
right? But then I looked at the engine that was getting put on, which I ended up learning a bit more down the track, was a lot of the engines that went from that part down into Rijeka, because there was a lot of steep climbs and mountains there. A lot of the lines have been realigned now. They were using a lot of the Italian mountain engines in there, the articulated mountain engines. And they worked on a different voltage. And that voltage also, because that line ended up connecting into Italy. Italian volts, the overhead power, was different to what it was in that region. So it made sense at the end of the day. And I believe they're still doing the same practice today. But don't vouch on me. I could be wrong.
But that's in Denmark, for example, we have this main line with 25,000 volts AC, and in Germany they run by a lower voltage. So we see it at our border station between Denmark and Germany. They do it exactly the same way when they come with the locomotive and they coast along the platform for the last, and then you have a diesel shunter taking the German locomotive back under the German system again.
Yeah.
And so it's not uncommon.
When it's the locomotive, right?
Yeah.
Because again, like on the ICEs, they just drop the one set of pantographs and pop up the other, because they have a different pickup system inside that will then pick up the new powering system. Because it can't be a high-speed train if it has to stop and wait and change and be moved around. But
well,
again, I'm sorry, go ahead.
They did show a documentary. I know they did show a documentary here in Australia in the trains in Denmark, the way they work is most parts in parts of Europe as well, which is very interesting. A lot of people don't know about the differences in it. But I remember they had issues even with the diesel engines, particularly in the US, when they were going from DC to AC. They couldn't hook up the DC ACs with the DC units because they needed an inverter in them to convert the AC into DC power. Yeah, that's right. They had to use the AC power to divert down to DC. So they had to put in big inverters in it because there was a big issue. I remember when CSX in particular, when they bought the AC 6000s and they matched them up with the Dash 8s and the Dash 9s that were DC.
Right.
And they were having issues with it. Now they just hook them all together, and because they end up working out the problem. Simple, expensive fix, but
But we're seeing, if you're looking at the chat, there's a couple of different good conversations going on where, again, we talk about the powering system. And just like with model trains, there's two different powering systems, how the motor is actually run versus how that power is transferred to the motor. So people, he's brought up the point, well, aren't all diesel locomotives actually electric motors anyhow? Yes, but it starts with a diesel engine with diesel fuel. Okay, whereas an electric train still picks up the power from that electrical wire overhead. And
Anthony, even there, you are
not, the power starts, not where it ends. But yeah.
And Anthony, even there, you are not quite correct.
Probably not.
Because you also have diesel locomotives that have hydrodynamic drives, and you have diesel locomotives that run with cardan shafts and ordinary.
Right, but that's why I said most, because I would still argue it's probably most diesel engines.
Majority got electric motors in it. Yeah,
right.
Because look at my little switches that I had. My little switches, they're actually hydraulically driven.
For example, the German V200.
Yes,
that's a diesel hydraulic locomotive with a hydraulic gear.
I wondered when you'd bring that one up, Jean.
Why?
The V200, for those who don't know, in the world of Märklin and other German, the V200 is one of the most popular model locomotives. It is without, somebody is always making a version of it. All the German companies, there's always and if somebody hasn't made one in a year, people are screaming, why don't we have another V200? Though in Germany, it's the 103 and the V200. There's always a version of the 103 and the V200. Just big, massive, powerful locomotives. Sort of like your F7s or SD40s or what you have in the US. Those are the big two that the people into model trains that are into the German trains. I'm probably one of the few people that doesn't have a 200.
I don't have one either.
Well, Jean Ricard, we found a common ground. I'd like to thank you all for this session. We have reached a common ground.
All right, Anthony. Thank you very, very much.
Good. No more war between you guys.
I have a suggestion. I watched Artie's animation, and then I saw all the containers in the background of your layout. And you, for example, are you going to beat me now, Anthony?
Depends on the suggestion.
It was just that, as I recall it, you have some hapaloid containers stacked in the background of your yacht.
I've got two of them. I've got one back here and then two over there. Although this is my yard, this is technically my testing area. My testing area.
He's referring to me. Anthony.
I apologize. Well, he was talking.
Yeah, I'm talking about artist containers.
Gotcha.
And I kind of wonder, do you have containers from Hapaloid as well, Anthony? Okay, yeah, because I thought, well, maybe we should start a kind of like a game, so that for example, you're sending a train off at some time with a container car with a hapaloid, and you say this is going for Artie, and the next stream we see the train comes with a container wagon with the hapaloid at Artie's layout. You don't have actually to send the containers to each other. It's actually just
Jean Ricard.
Yeah.
I am in process of doing something similar to that. I'm just going to keep it underneath the hat. I was hoping to be able to have something set up while His Majesty over there at the other end in excuse me for a minute.
Is over there. No, over there.
He's talking about me.
I'm right here, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
We lost Artie again.
Yeah, I think he went to fetch something. And then we can ask Daryl, do you have a
Sorry, I'm back
haploid
again.
container?
For a sec. Okay. I had something in plan to get done while His Majesty on the other side there was in the UK. But thanks to the postal system, it didn't turn out. But once it gets here, I am going to sort something out with His Majesty on the other side to do something like what you were talking about, Sheen.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there we go. Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
We can do something like that.
Yeah, I think it would be a fun idea if person saying, well, today I'm running this train with this container train and I'm shipping this container to, let's say, Dave or Archie or Daryl or whoever is on the next stream. It's a little bit like if you know the concept of Inkelnuke, the where you have switching puzzles.
Yeah.
But without doing a switching puzzle, but just making a puzzle between each of the participants in the stream.
Actually, you're
That's
giving
a cool idea.
you're coming up with a very good idea there, Sheen. That's a very good idea. That's something that we should actually. I reckon that's something we should do. I mean, I believe that guy in the middle there at the top, Daryl, I believe he might have some hypocloid containers there somewhere in the background.
I think I do. And I think it's coming around right now.
Well, that's what they'll make 1, 2. Well, we've got 3 so far, so that you got one that makes it 4. We can actually make this very, very interesting.
Well, you set up the companies ahead of time. There are certain companies that are international companies you will see everywhere. For example, in this part of America, Toledo, Ohio, you're not going to see too many Hapag-Lloyd, Maersk, K-Line things. But on the coast, and maybe in Australia, you're going to see more K-Line, Hapag-Lloyd, Hamburg Süd, or Süd, as you say in German. So there we go, another Hapag-Lloyd.
Oh, good. So there's 4 of us that's got something. Great.
I've got a couple of them.
I'm sorry. I
You just have the one.
You just need the one.
I can only send them in white.
But see, I noticed, look in my
Hobby
right
shop
here.
and get some orange paint.
Yeah, I must go to my hobby shop and get a couple of 40 feet.
No, just buy a little thing of orange paint.
No, because I don't like to repaint my containers.
Hey, what size are you guys' containers?
40 foots.
40.
Okay.
We got to compare sizes now. This is a 40-footer.
Okay, mine's a 40-footer too.
20 foot.
Yeah, so that's perfect.
I've got 20 footers too, but they're packed away. I'm not going digging out for them at the moment. I'm not capable.
But I'm just thinking that it could be fun if you could say it. For example, when Anthony, tonight I'm running, this Friday night I'm running a train, a freight train with containers, and I'm shipping them to, and then you could mention that Archie is getting the Hapaloid, Shang is getting the mask container or whatever. And then we could make an appearance later on and showing, well, the Hapaloid has reached Australia and the mask has reached Denmark,
Right.
And we are sending something back to you, like
yeah.
Or just film
Like a
something
game.
that we would stick on or post a video. whatever, just post a quick 2-minute
Yeah, and
video.
do a
and say, "Here's
continuation
the
between the
train,"
channels. Yeah.
and then
Yeah, that
just
actually sounds like a good idea, that.
because I know American channels that have done this where they had the same set of cars and even the same model locomotives, and they did this was really cool. I wish I could remember the channels that did this. I saw it a couple of years ago, where they had the train run across their camera on their scenery.
Yeah.
And then this train is going to somebody else, and then the next person started their video with the same locomotive and the same cars coming into their onto their layout, and then they filmed it leaving their layout, and then the third person posted a 2-minute video with that same train arriving on their layout, but they didn't actually ship the same train. They just all had the same cars and same locomotive to do that. Like it was a Burlington Northern with a set of cars that where they said, "Hey, I've got 3 of those. I've got 3 of those. Well, I've got 4. Well, let's do 3, and then 2 of whatever else you have that's similar." And yes, that's really cool when you do that. So we'd have to set something up like that and see if we could do that. But again, the idea of like, okay, this car's going this guy, this car's going that way, could do that too.
Well, that's something that you and me will be able to do later on down the track, but I'll let you know when that happens. We can do something like that down the track.
Okay.
But see, I don't know. See, like, when we go to Daryl and Dave, for example, and myself,
You mean the
the
Daryl
only
and
way
Dave
we
show,
can actually
or Dave and Daryl show? Is that what you're talking about?
Good night, Gary.
no, not yet, but oh, all right. Who's going, Gary? Okay, Gary, you stay warm and stay safe up there, buddy, and close that bloody freezer door, will you, please? See, Daryl and Dave and myself most probably be able to do it as well. What you're talking about, who was saying that? Anthony was talking about it, but we'd have to use the same engines, the same numbers, and everything else where we can actually do that, because that the engine numbers will be the giveaway.
You have to have a little bit of free imagination, suspended disbelief. I don't think the 3 guys had the same running numbers, but when you're watching the video, I'm sure maybe somebody's in there going, "Hey, wait a minute, those are the," that's like the guy watching Star Trek going, "When you held your tricorder like this, that wasn't the same way you held your tricorder in episode 63."
I'm just trying to create an illusion. That's all.
Able to do it to any level made it beautiful, because you can always film it where maybe you're not seeing the running number. I'm sure some guys closing up and going, "Wait a minute, you got a different number on your
Container.
transport freight."
Yeah, but that's too small. We can't see that one.
Just have fun doing it.
Yeah.
But may I ask Daryl a question? I have seen your train running with the containers in the background for quite a while. Do you actually have a yard where you can get it into a parking position where you can unload, or is it just a picture of the main line going by?
This is just a picture of a main line. This is just one of very many spots that I will stream from, but this is probably one of my favorite ones that I stream from. But I'm actually gonna probably do a place where you can unload the containers. This is just, again, I just want to say, I watch YouTube, I watch videos, I watch other people's videos, and I'm a viewer myself. So when I see stuff on YouTube, me as being a viewer, when I'm up on streams or when I'm up watching people, I want to see trains run. So I mimic what I would like to see if I'm in a live stream or I'm watching somebody do a live stream, somebody running trains. So what you're just seeing is I have a double main HO scale layout. And what you're seeing is just two trains passing by each other with my waterfront. Yeah. So this is just kind of like a beach area, and that's just about it, really. I mean, it's a very nice place to stream from.
Actually,
it's also
Steve,
very...
Steve
Sorry.
Peasaps just made a good comment there. Like, particularly with me here, we can make photographs
Right.
of the container being on the ship and leaving. Like with me here, actually, we don't have containers that leave Port Kembla, but we do have trucks here that will take containers from here up to
Right.
Sydney, where the container berth is. So I
Right.
can do that.
Yeah.
And then Daryl, when he ever gets down towards the seaside area, he can actually get a photograph of one coming out by a truck or on the back of a train at the wharf.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm-
that
I must say, Daryl, I'm very impressed about the mirroring in your water. It looks so great.
Thank you, Jean Ricard. Thank you very much. Yeah, no, and here it is again. Even to everybody in the chat, I say I'm a viewer as well. Okay, I just started about 7 months ago on YouTube. Okay, like I said, I'm a viewer. What catches my eyes is scenery, and my vision for my layout was I seen on a couple other videos where the trains were running and you could see the reflection in the water. That was very intriguing to me. And so I emulated that on my layout, unbeknownst to me that I was ever going to go on YouTube and do this. This was just for my viewing. But like you said, John, thank you very, very much. I'm very humbled by your comment. I just chose to do it from this area, and I believe where a lot of subscribers have come to my channel because it's beautiful. Thank you.
Yes.
How
Yes,
have you
I was-
made mirror effect?
Excuse me?
How have you made the mirror effect in the water?
Oh, this is okay for everybody who's listening.
sorry guys, I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, go
You guys
ahead,
go
Artie.
on.
I'm going to take over your show. This is done just like Dave from Crooked River and Eastern. This is done with Envirotech Light. Okay, this is what I use to pour my waterfront. This is 2 64-ounce bottles of Envirotech Light mixed in with just cheap run-to-the-mill paint. What was pleasant to my eyes and what I see like here in the States. When you're looking down, it's mostly green. It's not blue. And so that's the effect that you're seeing. You're seeing the greenness in the water. So I've done this a lot of times. And so Dave, a couple weeks back, was going to do a live pour. And because Dave saw this on my layout, he asked me to do the live stream with him. So, you know, because I've done this quite a few times, and it's not as easy as it looks, I tell you. And but the effects of it are just absolutely stunning. So again, it's Envirotech Light. Here in America, you can get it. You can get it at your local box stores. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it anywhere.
Resin, it's an epoxy resin type stuff.
That's right.
Okay.
Uh,
And it will automatically come out to that shine. I do nothing to it except for with a damp cloth. I don't put cleaners on it. I don't rub on it really hard. I just wipe it off gently because it will scratch.
It's hard. It's pretty.
Think.
Thank
So
you, Jeff.
Dave, at the bottom is the other one that makes it like you do, Del.
Say that again, John.
So Dave Creek
Yes.
is the other one that makes okay.
Yes, correct.
Just
yes.
to be
Yes.
clear of what we are talking about.
Yeah, no, I mean Dave's when he was done in his live stream, it didn't take very long to actually see the reflection of everything that's around it. And whoever's not, please go up on Dave, the Crooked River Eastern, and you can see his. You can watch the live pour, or you can go see his river. It's absolutely stunning, gorgeous.
We left Anthony quite speechless.
Sorry, getting messages.
That's okay.
So,
Well, this is actually the first time I've done an actual live stream where I've actually got 2 trains running, because a lot of people, didn't realize I really had 2 tracks. So this is actually the first time I actually had 2 trains running. And these trains will run for hours on end with not a problem. So, and that's all due to track work.
yeah.
Yeah, track work is everything. If you don't got good track work, your trains, I don't care how expensive your trains are, they're not going to run correctly.
No, that's a good point. But I think that Anthony and I can say that it's not normally the track work that is the problem with the Macklin system.
No, I mean, at least with C-Track. Obviously, if you
Okay.
use K-Track, or as you have the old M-Track. M-Track and C-Track are basically grandfather and grandchild.
Yeah.
But with C-Track, everything is done with an algorithm. And just like anybody, you can go out and design it through SCARM or whatever else you want to use.
That's very beautiful, Dave.
Yeah.
The picture we see of your river there.
Yeah.
We're here talking about
Even
it,
though
so
you end the bridge quite abruptly in the middle of the river. And now we have Artie.
I just want it to be challenging for the trains to make it across. That one's already weathered. That's one I just finished. I'm working on the other half now.
Yeah.
You haven't even seen me work on it. We'll go on the left-hand side there. But since Daryl brought it up, I figured I might as well show it to you. But when I was pouring it that night, as I was pouring the resin, you could already see the backdrop and everything, like right away, starting the reflection into the water, even before it dried. So.
But another key is you did a brilliant job matching your 3D scenery to your backdrop. That is something I do see some guys that are really and again, it depends on what their intent is, but some guys that are really intent on making very realistic scenery, but they don't color match the trees or the type of trees to their backdrops very well. And then it feels very abrupt. And again, it depends on what they're trying to do. There are guys that have beautiful backdrops that are hand painted and not, quote, realistic, but it's so beautiful hand painted. And then their scenery just blends, flows into that. Right. But your trees here match that backdrop perfectly.
Thank you. Yeah, that was my intent. I mean, I didn't think it would come out as well as it did, but it was a happy surprise, I guess. Happy in the way it ended up. And I had an idea in my head, and then thankfully it came out pretty good so far. So far, so good.
Sorry about that, folks. I'm just getting interrupted by someone, and I'm getting a bit frustrated about it.
So Artie,
Anyway.
pop up Steve 87's PSAP for the people on now. Example, Anthony, post that one up. There you go. See, and there's another idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that up before. Yeah, that's going to be something that we can do. They can sort of like get it from Anthony Train to Sheen and whatnot, and then we can have it make it look like it's gone around the world. And well, you're going to get some rain, Randall, just so it's finally got there. Good. I actually had a visitor here on Friday, and this is something I was going to try to say before, but we got sidetracked. It's almost like a sidetrack Sunday show. I had an old friend of mine who came around and gave me a visit, and he's into RC bulldozers and tractors and stuff like that, which is pretty common basically in Europe, but it's starting to pick up here. And he got into that about when the show stopped and the lockdowns and everything else was starting to come here. So he got into that, and he doesn't get out much. And I fixed up one of his remote control hand gadgets. Well, tried to. We couldn't get it fixed, so we got another one on order. But I brought him out here into my train room and show him what I have got. His eyes lit up, and hopefully I might be able to entice him into the hobby. And by the sounds of it, he's interested in giving me a hand to finish it, under the proviso that I'll let him operate on it. So I said, well, you can operate on it, but you're going to have to help me expand. So I might end up having something. Hopefully, I should have it start the expansion on it reasonably soon. So
Well, that's good news.
yeah, so we will be able to do a really good, realistic hypercolloid container run between Denmark, US, and Australia. I don't know if any of the other modelers that we got. I do have a subscriber. He's Polish. He does a lot of the Polish trains. I don't know if he's got a hypercolloid. We'd probably be able to get him on board. I do have an Indian modeler here. He's one of my subscribers. We can actually really make this an international event. After all, the containers do float around the world. Yeah, I think that's something we can look into. Something that we can actually do. Yeah, that'd be a good little thing.
There's also one thing that is nice when doing it with containers is that as opposition to the thing that Anthony mentioned with the same train in different layouts, we only need to have the same container.
Right.
The trains
Yeah.
be different each place, because we are the carrier of that container and not of a whole train as such.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, like I said, I wasn't trying to say we should do that. That was something that the chat brought up and made me remember. This is something of the same idea that I just thought was cool, where they ran the same 8 containers or 9 containers, whatever it was, with the locomotive, and just one scene ended with that train going, and then the next one picked it up coming onto their layout. I just thought that was so brilliant for 3 channels to have set that up. I mean, those guys that do Third Rail Thursday, Eminem, Mark and Chris, and I forget the other guy's name right off the top of my head. But they could do that with their Canadian trains. They could easily set something like that up, because they all run Canadian National and Canadian Pacific, and they all have quite a few locos and cars in common. But no, this, we just have to get a lot of people on board and set it up, and then each person films their animation, and then we just post it I don't know, we could even set up one of those community channels, like when Sidetrack Sunday did their build teams, where there was a page where everybody could go watch the video. So like one day we have somebody shipping it, the next day somebody's picking it, picking it up and putting it on the boat. The boat's taking it to wherever, and then the next person's loading it on their train runs it. Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be a cute idea if we could bring it in. The more the merrier is my attitude.
Yeah.
Well, I actually got some Canadian containers. I'm just saying. 53 footers.
They don't come this far south, unfortunately.
No, they don't. No, I think the haploid would work very, very well.
Yeah. Oh, China shipping. What's the other ones I've got?
Well, K-line. I know I see K-line in the United States. Hapag-Lloyd. I've actually seen Hamburg Sud a couple of times. Maersk I see in the United States. None of those here. I see CSX. Like 90% of the freight cars you see going through Toledo are CSX.
What's their subsidiary of the container company? Sealand or whatever they called it. Sealand.
That's actually
Seco. They come around.
I think that was a smart idea, Steve, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that since I'm modeling Germany, I would be shipping it up to Denmark. Jean puts it on a boat and sails it over, and then it gets picked up. I mean, if somebody we know on the East Coast maybe has it, they could have it picked up on their layout. They're sending it to Dave, who's in Cleveland. Dave ships it out west to Daryl. Daryl does a bit where it's going to the docks, and if we had somebody that had a dock scene where they could have it put on a boat, and then it goes to Artie.
Yeah, and it can show people how everything integrates together, just using that one thing, a shipping container.
Yeah.
And how far we can actually go.
And it is also very nice because we don't have to think of the type of cars that we use.
Right.
Of course.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the container. It's not the car.
And when it's all done, we will all come on live together and sing "It's a Small World."
Well, it is a small. Well, yeah.
It's a small world after all.
Hang on.
You have been too much.
There we go. Yeah, we got we do get the Schneider I have actually seen a couple of Schneider 48 footers floating about, and I think they're slowly starting to, like I said, they're slowly getting into 48 footers on international shipping on bulk commodities. I know they're doing a trial at the moment from west of my state to transport grain and some of the other commodities from out there on the 48-foot containers to get more out. So be interested to see what happens on that one. Yeah, I'm going to be in for it. It's going to be fun.
All right, well, something to work on off time, I guess, so to speak.
Yes, but in certain regard, you are a bugger, because now I've got to dig one of my Australian container cars out.
Actually,
was that orange car? You know, the flat car. Isn't that a container carriage car?
Now you got to go. Now you got to go to your dealer and buy an orange car. There.
No, hang on a minute, Gene. That's American. Okay, I'll do American here, but I also do Australian. So I'm gonna have to dig out one of my Australian cars out to haul it. So yeah.
Well, I'll just take one of my Märklin cars that carry containers, and it would probably be a German car, because a lot of trains that runs between Germany and Denmark runs on cars from Germany. when
Yeah,
they
but I'm a
come
long
with-
way from Denmark and Germany.
Pardon me?
So,
I'm a long way from Germany and Denmark.
Yeah,
They
I
haven't
know.
built the tunnel yet. They haven't built the tunnel in the Timor Sea yet.
We'll deal with
They're
your part.
working on it.
We'll deal with your part of the nation exchange when we get to it, Artie. Remember,
Yeah.
you're at the end. You're at the end of the transport chain.
Or perhaps at the start. It depends on what you do the next time.
Well, if we do the videos and run it backwards,
when you stop the next stream, you say, well, look at my layout, look at the car, and look at the locomotive. It's on the way, and it's shipping to Sydney Harbor, and is going to be sent to, I don't know, San Diego or Los Angeles. Where do you what kind of container area do you have there in California? Where do you receive them?
Long
And,
Beach.
What do you was it's Long Beach, isn't it? Daryl? Oh, he's gone.
it is it.
I think it is Long Beach.
Okay, to Long Beach then. So
Steve, PSAP, there are ships that carry sheep and cattle.
No, if I'm going to, Artie, either way, no matter how we do this, it needs to start or end with me and you. And then I need to talk to you about something offline.
Yeah, all right, we can do that. Yeah.
Either it starts
Oh.
with you and ends with me going through everybody else, or vice versa. And then I'll talk to you about something offline. Or, I mean,
Yeah,
not immediately offline, but when we decide to really start putting this together.
Steve, PSAP, yeah, they never do, but there is been a ship that's actually been converted to carry the 48 and the 45-foot containers. And it's been done on trial. They are not going to go to 53 foots because the 53 foots are too long in a lot of international destinations. There has been a couple of ships have been converted to be able to carry them, and they're using them at the moment on trial. I have seen them coming off the wharf here in Sydney, and I have actually seen them anchored off the coast here. There is a lot of big, long containers at the moment, the 45 and 48s coming from Europe into the US as well. So it's something to keep an eye out for. So there is obviously a change coming in the way the goods are being shipped across the waters.
I actually think the reason why they have changed the sizes of the containers is because the pallets in Europe and the pallets in the United States are not the same size. So if you use European pallets, you can pack the container when it's 20 foot or 40 foot more densely than if you use an American pallet, because you need some more space for each pallet. It doesn't go up in division between 20 foot and 40 foot containers, and that's why you go up and make them 45
That's correct.
foot.
That's correct, Gene. Because with our system, when you look in the there is comparison. I can't remember which way it is. One of them is actually slightly bigger than the other.
Yeah.
Even though they're trying to use the same standard, but because the Americans are using the imperial measurements to making their pallets, and we're using a metric system, it blows the size of the pallets out. You are correct, Gene. Even the skids.
And
Oh,
that's
there you
also-
metric people go, ruining it again.
And we didn't ruin nothing. We didn't ruin nothing. You guys just
If
want to
we-
be different to the rest of the world.
Damn straight.
You have
Just be
to
careful.
learn it. Sooner or later, you have to learn it. Metric is good. Imperial is outdated.
Jean
Well,
Ricard,
look,
I keep proving to you I already do know it, but you're not going to convince the rest of this country.
Well, look at the Canadians. They've eventually bit the bullet and gone metric. It's taken
Look.
them a while, but they bit the bullet.
Look, we just tolerate the Canadians, okay? Just leave it at that. They can have their little metric system up there on their hockey because they make better beer. We tolerate it, okay? We just let it be.
But look at the Mexicans. You got cheap alcohol
Cheap
and good
alcohol.
food. Even they bit the bullet, got metrics. You guys are the meat in the sandwich, which eventually gets flattened out. It's got to give in eventually.
You're preaching to the converted, Artie, but you know, hey,
I'll tell you what, it's funny because when I understand both systems. I'll learn both metric and imperial. And what I'm doing, when I'm constructing something, you guys both find it's funny. I'll go, right, okay, it's supposed to be 10 mil. Oh, bugger that. I'm going up to 4 inches. It's a nice round figure. It's easy to find on the tape measure and trying to go, well, 10 mil, that's 10.1, 10.1 and a half. No, I'll just go 4 inches. Just makes it easier.
yeah, and
No, imperial is a metric.
no, see, you're lucky Joyce is not here because as much as other people take over the show, the minute you start talking metric and how to teach it, Joyce would take over the show.
Oh,
She would be more than welcome then.
yeah. Oh, yeah. But see,
Oh no.
with my train automation that I have, the program here, it's got the option of working on both metric and imperial. But to get to the precision right, to get the imperial decimal point right, it's hard. It's a lot easier with the metric. You go, right, that's close enough. That 0.1 or 0.2, that's close enough.
Well, it's all based in 10. Yes, it's easier to
Yeah.
round off and
Yeah.
instead of what is 1/32nd, what is, it's
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
but
that point.
you go to the UK where they use 3 different systems. They use pounds, stones. I'm sorry, they use the weight pounds. They use kilograms and grams.
Yeah.
They use stones as well. They got 3 systems running over there.
Well,
At least 3.
Well, look at it this way. Well, hey, look what Randall said. Mexico has an awesome railroad too. Yeah, there you go. See, their trains will be right. Their engines will be converted into a metric system to be able to run in there. Sorry. Got me sidetracked then. Look. There's pros and cons of both measurements, but yeah, that's where I'm going. Consider that we're lucky we do not live in China or Asia and over there. I will try to remember to pick one of their tape measures up on Wednesday when I go to Sydney. I'm going to go to the Chinese shop and get one of the tape measures there. Actually, I don't know. One of you guys can use it. Who's doing right? Who's constructing the layout? Dave is, isn't he? He's still working on that. They
Yeah,
got 5. They got 5 different measurements, 5 different scales of measurement on one tape measure. 4 or 5 measurement systems. And here we are arguing about the 2. No,
My
no,
daughters do various
Right.
knitting and crocheting, and they've got rulers that have 5 or 6 different measurement systems on them based on what they're working on. Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
But hey, it is what it is. The world still mostly advances, 2 step forwards, 1 step back. We get there in the end. We work it out. So what's about, man?
I
Or
hear that.
we might need to buy a ruler that has each system, on each side, so that you have one that is metric on one side and imperial on the other side, and yeah.
Well, that's what
All my tape measures are metric. All my rulers, all my yardsticks, everything.
Yeah, that's the only way I go. I mean, you have a look. I've got both metric and imperial. That's the only way. These are the only tape measures I use.
Well, look, Artie, you got the tape measures out.
Well, look, don't start working on comparisons on whose is the biggest.
So you got to.
This is my measure, and that's a laser.
I'll just point out, Artie, that I'm 6'3.5". So right there.
Well, let's put this. Let me ask you one question, Anthony. Does your nose bleed when you're up that high?
No, but I do get high flying birds get stuck in it at times.
No, that's
occasionally he doesn't get enough. He doesn't get enough oxygen to his brain. He's so high up, so the oxygen is.
I bet you've never won an argument with me, Jean Ricard. What does that say about you? Jean Ricard, before you worry about anything else, just go to your local hobby shop and find one of these.
Yeah. But it's Sunday today.
That's your homework from teacher.
Yes, sir.
Gee, I'll tell you what, if you don't have one, I'll go to spare.
I'll make sure Joyce gives you the stink eye next video.
Okay.
I might have a spare one here I can send you, Jean Ricard. Don't worry about him. It might take an as long as putting it on the ship to get there, but
yeah.
So Anthony, I already probably know the answer to the question, but do you speak fluent German?
Yes.
I figured that. So the only German saying that I know is Blitzkrieg. That's it.
Lightning war.
There you go.
Blitzen is lightning, Krieg is war. So lightning war.
Yeah. And I think I got that from Saving Private Ryan.
Okay. Yeah, everybody knew. I mean, growing up, most boys went through a phase in their life where they were into military history, and World War II usually came into it somewhere. And yeah, Blitzkrieg, that's the German word, Blitzkrieg. But actually, you knew German words before you even heard that one, because if you ever sang,
really?
Well, I don't know. I mean, did you ever sing Christmas carols as a kid?
Of course.
Well, I didn't know. Maybe you were Hindu or something like that, and you didn't, No. But if you sang the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer song, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen. Donner is thunder, Blitzen is lightning. German.
Oh, that's right.
Donner and Blitzen. Donner is thunder. Donner is also the name of the god Thor. He is the Donnergott. He's the thunder god. And in German, all the days of the week are still named after the German gods. Or no, English. In English, all the days of the week are named after the German gods.
Interesting.
Yep. Monday is Mund, the god of the moon. Tuesday is Tuv, the god of agriculture, poetry, and some other things. Wednesday is Woden, the Odin as you know him, but he's officially Woden or Wotan. Thursday is Thor's day. And Friday is Freya, the goddess of love.
Saturday.
I taught mythology for years. I will give you this. Anytime somebody's called a goddess of love, they're not a goddess of love. That's the PG-13. They were the goddess of physical activity in that realm. Because Aphrodite is not a goddess of love. In fact, she's the exact opposite of love.
My grandfather was born in Germany.
What's that?
my grandfather was born in Germany on my dad's side. He met his wife in the war. She was in Sicily.
Okay.
So that's how they met. So
Okay.
there you go.
Yeah,
So-
3 of my 4 grandparents were born in Germany and came over in their youth to the United States before the turn of the century. Well, before the turn of the previous century. And then my dad's older brother was a bomber pilot in World War II, and he was stationed in Germany after the war as well. He did the Berlin airlift, and he met a German girl there who was from the city of Dresden, married her, and brought her and her family over in 1950. 49 or 50. But yeah, so I grew up with a lot of German, and then I went to one of my 7 degrees is a degree in German, and then the last half of my teaching career I taught German. The first
Very
half I
good.
was English and history and various things, and then the last half occasionally English, but almost predominantly German. And then I also taught a literature class on mythology.
Very good.
You know, it's funny because when you're talking about certain goddesses' names, it's one of the streets I lived in here. I had a habit of looking up what the name of streets normally mean when it's an unusual name, and it was actually called Thalassa. And it's it's not a German word, it's a Greek word.
Yep.
For sea goddess. But again, we can't actually say what kind of goddess she was because of the channel limitations and restrictions.
That was one of the things. PG, she was also she was a goddess of water, but she had other things she was the goddess of as well.
Well, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
She was actually a Mycenaean goddess that the later Doric Greeks borrowed. When you study Greek mythology, you study Doric Greek mythology. But before the Doric Greeks were the Mycenaean Greeks, and some of the Mycenaean Greek gods filtered into the Doric Greek mythology. But since I'm retired,
it's funny. It's funny when you look at the names of other places like around my area in particular. A lot of them are actually Aboriginal names.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Right?
Yep.
Like Wollongong. Wollongong is actually a German word. Not German. Fuck you, Germans.
That is right. We will hit them in the Wollongong, and then we will take over the world.
Good luck. You failed.
Artie. Well, that was good, Anthony. That was
My
really
Wollongong
good.
is kaput.
I'll show you a shipwreck.
Hang on, Artie. I got one more for you. I'm sorry. I'm just going to take this to the max. Artie, my Wollongong is kaput.
The Aboriginal meaning for Wollongong is, it's simple. It's where the mountain meets the sea. Well, we've got the mountains in the background and we've got the sea over here. So that's where it comes from. But then you had, when we had that movement going around in early 2020, Caroline Pilot said, yeah, that's why they travel with them. When they were talking about using the word black being offensive, we threw it back to them because, especially the ones around here, the younger ones and uneducated ones, my hometown, which is pronounced Unanderra, and it's an Aboriginal word, and it actually means Blackman Creek. That's how it's translated. They wanted to change one of the streets that I've got there. It's called Blackman Parade. And they found it offensive, but it's like you can't find it offensive when that street is actually named after a creek. Oh, no, it's not. And go, it is. It's Unanderra. It's the main creek that flows through there. the name got changed into Charcoal Creek. So you can't find it offensive. And there's many other little places around here, like Warrawong. It's something to do with lagoon or something that we
Yes,
got up there,
Lagoon, right,
saltwater
yeah.
lagoon. I'm going to have to look them up again. But there are particular meanings for them. There's always either a dera or a gong on the back of it, and it all relates back to an Aboriginal word. Yeah, Kahat Airlines is using the old Russian aircraft, so I definitely won't be going up in one of them.
Just
Yeah,
remember,
unless it's an Antonov
just
124
remember,
or
when the
123.
trip is more important than the destination, fly Kahat Airlines.
Yeah, that reminds me of what airlines was it? Oh, that's it, US Air Force. That's it. Yeah. Where is he? I think Steve Childers might have known about this. Or someone's over in Tampa Bay area. In Tampa, Florida, where a US military aircraft actually landed at the wrong airport. He landed at the airport before its base. He landed at General Aviation Airport, and that was funny because they had to unload everything, unload half the fuel just to get it off the ground. And this just wasn't far. It was only like about 4 miles apart, 3 miles apart. That was funny. So when he says Kahat Airlines can go anywhere, well, that's probably where they got the pilots from.
It
Oh,
was
so
on
now
the
you are-
Russian front that I froze my woolagangs off.
Yes, Gene.
I just think that you are afraid that the sky will fall down on your head and around your ears. So keep on your helmet.
Yeah, you baby, you're very, yeah,
No,
you'll
it,
be
hides,
safe there.
it does a nice job of hiding the bald spot. You know, with this, I have a full head of hair.
Yeah, but then again, baldness is a new sexy look these days. Yeah.
It's all ball boys are saying.
If you put on riding boots and make the helm silver, you can do it as a pattern.
I've got the winter coat to match.
As
This is all
pattern?
stuff that was in my classroom for years. It's all
What,
piled
the
up
ones
here
that-
because I have no place to put it after I retired and they canceled the program. I've got all my German props from shows and plays and stuff my students did that some of it I threw away, most of it, but I've got all kinds of props. I've got the, it's right here.
Hey, did you teach high school or was it college? What did you teach?
Oh, wrong one. Okay, here we go. We've got a fashion show, guys.
There you go. Yeah. No, I got the old German long coat, World War II German long coat, but
You only miss the band around your.
this is actually an East German. This is actually an East German marching parade helmet. It's not. This is what they wore when they did parades, not for combat.
Actually, I've got to say those German coats, those German military coats are very, very warm. Extremely warm. But
I don't know. I put this coat on and I feel like I need to move to Argentina. I don't know. Thank you, the two people who got that joke. Thank you.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It was cold on the Russian front. It was so cold, we froze our woolagangs off.
Well, if you come to Wollongong now, you will be freezing your spikes off.
Now there's a whole town in Australia with Woolagongs. I don't know.
What's that, Cheetos? Yeah, well, those flaming hot Cheetos, yeah, we got them over here, and there's no way in the world that I'll get them. Yeah, they're a little bit too hot.
Go, Gadget Arms. You know, I don't know.
But yeah, it's all fun and games. It's all fun and games. So,
I gotta get.
please,
Gotta get my
anyone
Don
here
Adams
on
voice.
in the chat, please don't get offended to what we're doing here, because it's all in fun. It's all in fun. We don't go out to intentionally offend everybody. We probably try to offend each other, but we all laugh at that, as you can see.
Speak for yourself, Artie. I'm here to offend anybody who wants to be offended.
Yeah, just lucky I got thick skin.
Yeah, isn't it more on the offended than the offender? Whether you choose to be offended or not?
What's that, Dave?
I feel it's more on the offended than the offender. It's the choice whether you want to be offended by something or not.
Yeah.
Well, I think like anything, and we don't want to go down that road, but some things maybe we shouldn't be offended about. Some things we should be offended about. And we all have different ideas of what that is.
Right.
Well, I'm just offended at the moment that they cancel the mud wrestling football match across the road from my place. That's what
Was
I'm
it
really
women?
offended about. Yeah, women, of course.
It was a women mud wrestling football game.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, the next time they have it, that's where you need to do your live stream from.
Exactly. Forget the running trains in the background like Daryl suggests and mud wrestling women playing football.
That's where
Well,
you
they
get
tried to
that's
get
That's where it's going to spike, man.
Yeah, what I know.
If anybody's really worried about it, they can wear little bikinis that say CSX on it, okay? Then we'll cover all the bases.
Well, of course, yeah. We'll have one with CSX, the other one with UP on it. We'll be right.
Well, whatever your rail line is.
And the thing is, I've got the trial on right in front of my doorstep, and it's nice and wet at the moment. It's real nice and sloppy. So you can imagine what it'd be like. You don't have to
what
go
are
to
we
the
talking
pub
about?
to see mud wrestling.
What's wrong, you guys? You guys don't like trains running in my background.
Yes, we do, but we have seen the trains running and running and running, and it seems like it's some kind of repeating itself.
But of course,
No, that's what I do. That's my
Yeah.
circles.
it's on automatic.
Yeah.
You know,
It's running on-
if I thought it was going to get me a lot more views, I'll just come out and say, "Hey, I'm going live tonight. Watch me crash hundreds of dollars of trains." Maybe that would give me some. Maybe that would get.
Or
Oh,
perhaps
yeah,
hate
they'll get
mail
you
would be
views, right?
huge.
you
The hate
say
mail would
the
be
line-
huge.
Yeah, no.
I did a video where I pirated some video from a site where a guy set fire to a O-gauge train, and the emails I got asked me, what site did you get from that mother little bit who set fire to that train? You know,
Oh.
yeah. So yeah, you want hate mail? Damage a train on live. You might get the views, but you'll get the hate.
well, we won't see them again.
But you're right. I mean, you know, it's like a lot of videos out there that are just clickbait. I mean, they're only putting up their girlfriends, hot women, just to get that click, just to bring you in. And I get that, you know. But you know, for me, when I go up on a train channel, this is what I want to see. I want to see scenery. I want to see trains run. You know, that's what gets my attention, and
Right.
that's what gets my subscription. And it doesn't matter if you're O, N, H, O, G scale. It doesn't matter. I'm going to subscribe because I, as a viewer, like what I see. Even if you're in the beginning stages, you'll get my subscription. This is who I am.
Daryl,
But
I
Daryl-
know
I look for fun. I look for
Yeah.
people having fun.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't care what they're doing. I mean, 3/4, well, 2/3, 3/4 of my subscriptions are train related, but it still comes down to fun. And, if they do trains or if they haven't done trains in a while, I might say, hey, what's happened to your layout? But to me, just I'm looking for the people having fun.
Yeah.
That want to love running their trains, or just like Artie that does run trains but has a laugh, or Jean who just likes to come in and annoy Americans. It's all good.
by all means. What do you mean by I like coming in annoying Americans?
Well, that's all you do. Every channel I see you in that I'm in.
Well, I'll back you up, Sean. You haven't done that.
Oh, so it's just me. Okay, fine. I
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
'Cause now that I mentioned it, yeah, you haven't annoyed. You
I-
haven't gone after Joyce either. It is just me. It is
I'll
just.
just
No,
say
I didn't say
You're-
that
way,
either. I
You're
didn't say
common
that
denominator.
either. I
I
was
don't
just
think I
saying.
want to annoy Americans. I want to annoy Mr. Anthony Dodge. And that I admit
Well,
that I
Freely
do.
admit to, yes. Freely admit to.
I love the I really do love the Americans, particularly when I'm visiting in person. And I mean, you guys have fun with us, but we really like to have fun with you guys, especially the younger generation. They are so gullible. We can wrap them around our little fingers. They don't know what's happening to them. My stepsister, she always used to fall for it all the time. We used to play pranks on her and used to tell her things, and she took it as gospel. And oh man, did I have fun with her. I got sore at the end of it because she used to beat me up, but it was worth the fun.
Yeah.
God bless
Well,
her
it's
soul.
like I said, I've only seen Anthony up on live stream. I've commented on a few of his videos, and I wouldn't comment on them just because. I commented on them because I like what I saw. But when I went up on his live stream, I was like in awe. I was like, wow, this is a side of Anthony I have not seen. So, I tried to view as much as I can, and to my surprise, it's a very nice layout. And I knew he did German stuff and stuff like that, which is very intriguing. But at the same time, I had no idea Anthony had that kind of an extensive layout, just because I'm only seeing him in the picture. So,
Yeah.
and just like I said, people, we're all viewers. Me, I'm a viewer, and
Yeah.
how do you get there unless you're not viewing? So.
Here's Jason. Okay, let's stop talking about him now. See, the thing, like I like European trains, and when I saw him initially, just a bit over 12, 13 months ago, when I first saw him, or 12 months ago when I saw his channel, it's like I saw his European trains, but it brought me back to what it is like now. I mean, I'd like to have some European trains.
Who are you talking about?
Anthony, right?
Yeah.
Like I like seeing the European trains. I got to see the new ones. I mean, now he brought out the other during the week. He brought out the German diesel engine. Right, I was wondering what the new German diesels are like because you don't see much of them on YouTube, and I'm amazed what the similarities between that and the electric, apart from the middle section, of course, but the front ends they look very similar.
Right.
And
Well, that's because basically most of the German locomotive bodies, for a large period of time, the majority of them were built by a company called Trax, which was then bought out by Alstom. And so it was Trax Alstom. And it is to me, it's almost, I would see it as a negative, because I look at the 101, I look at the 113, I look at the 112, and the 245, which is a diesel, or the 146s. These are all just German locomotive things. And the bodies are very, very similar, to the point where it's like, you know, you go to the UK and you see, well, there's a class 37 and it's very different than a class 50, which is very different from a class 55, where the German, the basic body on many locomotives is very, very.
Yeah, but see, the Germans started the trend. And this is coming from my cousin's husband that does the tooling for a lot of the automotive companies in Germany, for Audi, BMW, Mercedes, right? And Volkswagen. They got to a point where they are doing one standard shell or one standard chassis and build up around it. The Germans started that down to cut back on production costs. They implementing and forcing them more through. I think it was the Ford and GM, they started that as well in the US. And it started continuing, because when they got out the chassis, they used the different body shells where they'd just been able to interchange certain components amongst each other. But going back to the train side of things, like when I start seeing some of the older, well, not even some of the older ones, but seeing some of the carriages that's running in Europe, in Germany and France, but particularly in Germany, it reminds me back of my childhood, my younger days, and even back before the war that broke out in Yugoslavia. It brings me back to the memories of seeing the trains I traveled on when I was in Europe. Because down in former Yugoslavia and even some parts of Hungary, but Eastern Bloc of Europe, they have bought a lot of the old rolling stock.
Yep.
And a lot of the pre-war and the wartime stock from Germany. You have a look on one of my clips there, which is train related videos. To this day, in Bosnia, they're still running a steam engine that was built in World War II. They've got 3 of them, 3 or 4 of them that are still running, and they've got another 2 that they're using as spare parts. Here you got in 2022, they're still running old steam engines. And one of the biggest reasons is the cost. It's actually cheaper for them to run the steam engine than to buy diesel, because they use their own coal. It works out of a coal mine. So they've got ample fuel.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoy it, but I can't afford it. I just cannot afford a German train or a European train, for example. A railway carriage here in Australia from our dealer, an importer, it, like for example the Meljet car, like the railjet car,
Mm-hmm.
it starts from $160 each.
Yep.
The engine itself is $700-800 just for the engine in Australia.
Yeah.
And it's like for $800 I can buy what, 3, maybe 4 American engines.
Yep.
And that's off-boarding. I mean, we do have a couple of guys that got that
5 or
go
6
to the train.
UK, 5 or 6 UK Hornby Bachmann 00 locomotives. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
And,
they're
yeah,
good stuff.
and that is marked up. I mean, we know this. We've talked about before. It is a big markup just going to Australia.
Oh, it's a huge markup.
Because my stuff is much more expensive than the vast majority of the American stuff around, which is why for years I've had to. Well, I say for years. I've still only been in this hobby 5-6 years. But it's been I have to pick and choose. And when I want an ICE, which the basic ICE starts as a list price of $699 for the 5-car startup. Okay,
Yeah.
No track, no controller, just the 5 cars, $699 for that 5-car start set. And that is a plastic shell. Okay, that's not metal, that's a plastic shell. And $699. And then each add-on car is about $100 list price, but then the shops might knock off, like the ICE4, I think, was listed at $749, but that was manufacturer suggested retail price, MSRP. But like most German shops are selling it for $699. American shops sell it for $699. Every now and then they'll put a sale and maybe mark it all the way down to $599. But my discount plan I have with my online store, I get it for a lot less. But still, you're looking at it's an expensive train. Like you were talking about the Railjet, to get that Roco Railjet of mine, not yours, Artie. Those Railjet cars from Roco, those are list price in the United States $80 to $90, and the Steuerwagen, the control cab, is $100, and that's in America.
Yeah, and that's the basic, and those are the basic cars too.
No, this is the lit up one that fits the very high techy computer. They have the pin couplers and not the KD couplers, whatever. It's the computer pin coupling.
Yeah.
In the car. So these are the high end cars, but yeah, they're $100.
So that means those doors on those cars can be opened as well when they stop.
No. Nope. They are basic that way, but it has lighting. It has lighting and all the functions, but it's computer cord. It's pin.
Yeah. Because the ones that I was getting, they actually had opening doors on it, which was higher end again. But obviously, recently been looking at. I wanted to get the what is it? The ICE4 version of the hybrid German truck. Hey, Bernard.
So yeah, it's European
the hybrid one, the one that runs on the pantographs and runs on diesel, because we are getting them here in Australia, and I want to get the one that be one of the first ones and be prepared to do the color scheme on it.
And then I pay a higher price because most companies jack up the price for 3-rail.
Yeah, but just for the 2-rail from the dealer, which is not far from me, he wants $1,800 for it, and you need 3 chips in them. That's the one that's DCC equipped, and they got 3 chips in them for $1,800.
Right. It's tough. I understand. It's tough.
Yeah.
But
especially when you're not getting your full income. Now,
that goes into all those YouTube videos and topics that every show does eventually, where we talk about cost and how do you keep the budget down. And
if I do go to European, I would have to get the 52 class steam engine, the 210. I'd have to get one of them, because that was the very first steam engine that I actually rode in. Rode in the steam engine when I was 10 years old, and it was a banking engine in central Bosnia. And no, that's Dave's Bridge, Anthony.
Yeah, it's Dave's Bridge.
Yeah. But when I looked at how much that engine costs, and that's the Fleischmann version, because that guy that mainly deals with Fleischmann. Yeah, he does have Roco and whatnot. My nearest dealer here, he wants $800 for it.
Yeah.
One of the ones down in Melbourne, he wants $600. That's a little bit cheaper, but then you need to get the carriages with it. As I said, they start from about $140 plus.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like,
that's
no,
what I'm
forget
saying.
it.
The markup from Europe to Australia is pretty steep. Jean Ricard, you wanted to ask or say something.
Yeah.
No, I just want to say that I might leave the stream now. It's
Okay.
5 o'clock in the morning in
Yeah.
Denmark, and
Yeah. It's 11 o'clock here. I need to get going.
Yeah,
It's all right, Gene. You can have a
So-
sleep in on a Sunday. Thank you very much again for joining in. I really appreciate it. I enjoy having your company here, along
Yeah.
with those
Love
others.
having you here.
I love how you stick by me to keep Anthony into place.
yeah. We
It takes
have
two
to
of you.
put him. We have to put him in the corner where he belongs.
Yeah, it's all right. But we are going to have to do something about what you have suggested. We're going to put that into. We're going
Yeah.
to put that
Okay.
into motion.
We'll talk about that. Most of us communicate offline, so we can do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
See you all later. Bye bye.
Okay.
Okay, bye,
Take care.
bye, Gene.
Bye, Shane.
Auf Wiedersehen, Jean.
Yeah, my email is in my description. So if you go to my page, if you go to my YouTube channel, it's in the description. My email.
Yeah, my buddy sent me your email address to me.
Oh, okay.
Because you didn't have it on long enough, so I've actually asked him to give me your email. I
That's
actually
totally fine.
haven't seen him on here.
It's just you, Jason.
No, it's just you, Jason. Yeah. Yeah. You haven't dealt with the people from you have not dealt with people from the South long enough yet. The true South. Yeah. Look, South, like where I am. I'm in the true South.
Now, I got a friend in Tasmania. He's further south than you.
You had what happened? Did he drown?
Lost track of him.
Huh.
He went. I talked to him for years, and he's one of two guys that I talked to for years. We never met personally, but phone calls and everything else.
Yeah.
And he went underground. The one was a German friend who I had met in Germany a few times as well, and but we mostly communicated online. He went to work for the United Nations, and then he was a biogenetic engineer, and all of a sudden he got a job. He was in New York. Came out and saw him after always seeing him in Germany, and then he got appointed to somewhere in Brazil on some secret project he was not allowed to talk about, and that was 5-6 years ago, and I have not heard from him since. His old email address is gone. So this is like MI6 international stuff here, because yeah, he is off the planet.
That's the stuff that movies are made of.
It is. I just assume he is working on something very secret, and basically they have to be off the planet. Their old life is they're cut off. It's like the guys that work at Area 51 when they work there. The actual Area 51, not the sci-fi fans version of it, but the people that do work at the base. I mean, they have to, while they're working there, they live there. What families they have are there, and they are basically they're not allowed contact with the outer world. And so I assume that's what happened to him. But yeah, his mom was once governor of Tasmania, or whatever the head person of Tasmania was.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, he fell off the planet. I think he was one of those manic depressives, and I think he just finally said, "I'm done with, the social media world," because that was about 7-8 years ago.
Yeah, I'm pretty much. Well, particularly with Facebook, I am not really dealing much on Facebook anymore. For few reasons, but I just finding Facebook is very negative and very anti a lot of things. Like you put something on there, they get very negative, very anti, and it's like no thanks. As well as chewing up my bandwidth and freezing up my computer or my smartphone and whatnot. Here, I'm like, no, I'll just use my I'll
No,
start using.
all I am is I don't do any other social media. I'm Facebook and YouTube. That's all I. That's all I have. I have Facebook as friends and family and following whatever I want to follow. So I guess I don't see too much of the negativity. I mean, the only negativity might be when I post something where I express my,
Well,
just throw it out in the world and let my family and friends see what I'm thinking that day.
I would say probably about earlier last year, before I started this channel, and actually I found Facebook actually started getting me depressed and angry.
I know a lot of people who do that, but I always go back and say, well, what are you following? You know, if you do Facebook and just friends and family and cut out all the news information bits, then
That's where the problem. That's where my problem. That's where my problem came from. It's not from. It was actually coming from family, blood family.
well, there. Okay, there's the flip side. Yeah, it's because it's coming from family. Gotcha.
Yeah, and it was depressing to a point. Like, okay, we got enough problems as it is now. But I've been worse than the black sheep in the family. Let's put it this way. But when you see posts on it, when you got very important family events and you're not being invited to it, but you see
Right.
it all posted all over the world to see, and you're like,
You and I have
that's it.
talked about that a bit offline,
Yeah,
you know, because we share a certain situation.
yeah. And
And
I said to myself, no, I'm just going away from it. I'm just going away from it. And it's a good thing that I did. I'm a lot better. I had to. I had to get away from it.
because otherwise, you just block that stuff and then stick to
Yeah.
the good things. You know, it's tough, but yeah, I've done the same thing. I've had to block
Yeah.
family because it just I've carried that weight for 40 some years with certain family members, and there's only so many times you can bail them out, so many times you can help them and whatever, and you just eventually you have to draw that line or build that wall and just say, you know what, psht, you stay on that side, I'll stay on this side.
Yeah,
But
and the biggest problem with me was what I found offensive was like they always said I'm making things up and lying, but
yeah,
at the end of the day, when they see what the truth is, they go, yeah, but nah, you're on
yeah,
that part of it. So it's like, no, forget it. I get more invites to my extended family in the US
yeah.
than I do here.
But again, everybody has
Yeah,
their
that's right, Bernard. Don't text me. If you want to talk to me, call me. Don't text me. Don't use Messenger. I mean, I've heard excuses where they say, oh, we've been trying to get in contact with you. And I go, you haven't tried very hard. You haven't tried very hard. There is a thing called Messenger on Facebook, which I am got. You can always ring me on Messenger. So this excuse that you cannot get in contact with me, it's a load of BS the way I look at it. You just couldn't be bothered. But anyway, I'm just going to go up next week up to the embassy up in Sydney. I'm going to start sorting this out.
I'm old school too, Artie. I prefer to be called, and I'd rather talk to somebody live than on the phone. You know, if we're going to do priorities, I go there. I'd rather talk to you in person, then phone, and then if we have to text or email. But that said, it's a different world. My kids text me. My kids text me. My kids text me. My kids, and you guys have met. Well, some of you have met my kids online. You've seen my daughter Lynn, my daughter Liz. My son AJ has never been on the. I don't think he's ever been on the live stream because he doesn't live nearby. And my grandson Kyan, you know, and it's but it's that world. Text,
Yeah.
text. Because, well, Dad, I don't know. You might be on the toilet, or Dad, you might be somewhere else. So I don't want to call where I'm interrupting it. And it's like, you know what? If you turn it around and look at it from that point of view,
Yeah, fair enough.
you know,
But
call
see-
me. Okay, I'll call you later. Or, you know, it can make sense because let's face it, there are times I get a text where I'm like, oh, I'm on the crapper. I'm glad they didn't call. You know.
Yeah. But see, with my line of work that I used to do a lot when I used to be in the outback or work at remote places, I'd be like, because it'd be hard. Yeah, if I'm out there, it's hard to get in contact with me. It's like when I'm driving, I do not like to touch my phone while I'm driving my truck.
Right, I get that, Artie. I get that, but just to cut you off there for a second, like I will. This is my newest cell phone. It's a Samsung Z Fold 3, Z3 Fold. Okay, it's a big phone. It's also a small phone, and it's a big phone. It's basically a tablet and a phone. This is my new phone. All right, now let me explain one of the differences why some of us hate texting and try to give other reasons. Here are my kids texting. Here are my students texting. Here are my children texting. Thumbs going at 500 miles an hour. Here's me texting.
Yeah.
That's me texting. One finger, because I can't do it with my thumbs. My thumbs are too big. I can't handle it. I don't know how these damn kids do it this day and age. But, you know, again, it becomes, you know, even talking about Facebook, it becomes politics. People start talking about, I hate Facebook, and it's, well, I get kicked off Facebook because I express this view or that view. I've been kicked off Facebook at times for expressing certain views, which may be quite the opposite of the views here. You know, that some people say, well, I get kicked off Facebook because of my, everybody does if you go past a certain point. You know, some people go, you know, we start drawing lines and saying it's right, it's left, it's whatever. Facebook is a neutral world that we inhabit, and we make it what we want it.
Yeah.
Fight the ownership, whatever else. If you go out and look for all the negative, you're going to see the negative. If you screen out the negative and keep the positive, you're going to find more positive. Because my daughter will post awesome pictures of my grandson she took, and I'd either have to wait till Sunday and she brings them over, or bam, Dad, here's a new picture of Kyan. So, you know, there's a lot of positives that side too.
Well, on that side, yeah. With me, I had to think with a lot of them because I used to work a lot in the outback, right? And phones didn't always work out there. And as I said, I don't like touching the phone. With us here, particularly in my state, if you get caught texting by a police officer, it's a $600 fine. It's gone up to $800. If you get caught by a camera, because we've got these mobile phone cameras now, if you get caught by one of them, it's $1,000. Now, because I'm in a heavy vehicle, our fine's double. So if I get caught by a police officer, I'm looking at $2,000 just for touching the phone. It's not worth it.
It's and that's, to be honest, I'm one of the people that I watch people of all ages and genders and ethnicities on their phones, talking on their phones and texting, and all the time weaving around. And there's always the people, hey, I do that and I never have a problem. But I've seen people, they're not paying attention because they're watching their phones, they're whatever else. And I wish we were tougher on it here in America.
I do too.
I'm driving. I'm driving a truck. An average weight for starting. I'm going to go in tons. I'm not going to go in pounds. I'm not going to work calculate it. But my average truck starts from about 70, 80 ton to 120 ton. So I've got to be concentrating on where I'm driving.
Exactly.
Even my boss, unless it's extremely urgent, will either ring me and just cut it off and wait till I'm free to ring back. With other like family members and whatnot, I turn around and say to them, send me a text and I'll ring you back when I can. And that used to work.
Hey Artie,
Mum,
are you not on camera for a reason?
yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I was just
Yeah.
asking.
Yeah, I'm just doing something that YouTube probably won't like.
Yeah, okay. Just asking.
Yeah. No, I'm not doing anything rude. So don't you guys get any ideas of doing anything rude. I still got my clothes on.
Too
okay?
late. Too late. When you
Too
said something
late.
YouTube wouldn't like, it was already over, and you knew that, Artie. Now, I am going to say one thing to some Jason here, and again, I try to stay apolitical. When we all want to bash the news is always bad news. The news is always bad news. Yes, it is, but whose fault is that? Ours.
Yeah, because people want to hear
All
bad
right.
news.
If somebody comes up with the headline, "Woman today pets 10 kittens in park," you're not going to watch. 10-car pileup, 6 dead, see footage. You're tuning in. It's us. The news caters to the audience, and they do what they can to sucker you into it. And it's bad and it's depressing because that's what sells. And
Yes, exactly.
When I was a kid, thank God, when I was 10 years old, there were 4 networks. One didn't have the news, and the other 3 had news. 6 o'clock local for half an hour, 6:30 national, and then again 11 o'clock local news, 11:30 to 11:45 national. And not even every channel had that because he had Johnny Carson on one of the networks, and that was all the news you had. Then we had
that's part of the problem.
Then we had 24-hour news.
The problem right there.
The difference. We grew up watching guys get blown up in Vietnam and the anti-war protest. We watched that on TV at 6 o'clock while eating our TV dinners. That was horrible and it was depressing. But at 7 o'clock, Gilligan's Island came on and we moved on.
Yeah.
Now it's 24/7. Headlines, social media, this one. The world is not worse. Here's the craziest statistic in the world that will blow your mind. If you ask the average American, how do they feel about crime in the United States? They'll say, oh, it's out of control. Do you know violent crime in the United States with a slight fluctuation is actually lower now than in the 1950s? Violent crime has been on a relatively consistent downward path. Violent crime, rape, murder, et cetera, et cetera. Now, massive school shootings are on the rise. But if you count them as one isolated event, violent crime actually has been on a downturn. But the average American sees it the other way because that's what is on the news 24/7. Rape and murder and assault and protest.
Because they blow it out of proportion. They blow it out of proportion, same as here. They blow it out of proportion. It's like
they blow it out of proportion because we tune into that out of proportion. If we were to go and tune on PBS and watch a Mozart concert instead.
Mozart, that's enough to cause a school shooting.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, they're dead right there, Dave. Of course that will cause that problem. But have a look. Like here's a perfect example.
There's that old line from that old cartoon. We have met the enemy and they is us.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Since we were on that line, all about rants, ranting, yeah. But the television can give a false perspective.
Of course.
Like if I watch the news, right, and it's like an Australian, like our crime rate here is reasonably low. But when we look at your news, it's like it's too dangerous for me to go to visit America. The crime rate's blown out of proportion. Now, you guys got a bad perception about Australia.
Do we?
Because of what certain people talked about in regards to our creatures here. It's deadly in Australia because of our animals, like our snakes, our spiders, Our kangaroos, our drop bears, the sharks,
That's all the only one I'm worried about, the drop bears.
right? But really, honestly, it's not as bad as what they made out to be. I mean, Christ, this guy above me, if I poked him enough times, he'd bite back at me. Anyone will bite back. I walked and lived in the bush many times. I've seen the deadliest snakes on earth. There he is. Well, he's sticking his head out the bush. Oh, hello. You stay there. I'm going that way, and he's in the bush. See, I'm gone. Didn't come up and attack me in anything because I didn't poke at him. I let him be. 9 times out of 10, he'd go the other way. Same with the kangaroos and all these other stuff. You leave them alone, they're fine. Spiders. Actually, I don't see any inside the house, but I've got spiders outside. They're more than welcome to be there because they keep my insect population down. Are they deadly? No. Are there deadly ones around? Yes, there is. Well, I got some baby snakes that I had. Okay, I had to get rid of them because I got the rabbit. But it's not as dangerous as some people made out. You guys get the idea, think that it is dangerous, but it's not. Look where I got bitten. I got bitten in the United States, in South Carolina, in Tomasi. I got bitten there by a snake.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so that's the difference between your animals and our animals here, Jason. Majority of the time, our animals will leave you alone, except for a male red kangaroo. If it's breeding season, the females are on heat, they get very possessive. Very possessive.
Well, why do you think Jerry Springer was so successful for 30 plus years?
We
Same
don't.
thing.
Everybody wanted to see the fighting.
That's right. Chaos.
Shows. The freak shows.
Yeah, because it sells.
The bearded lady,
Yeah.
it's just the newest generation of the freak show.
Yeah. And that's why Jerry Springer did so well for all those years.
Yeah. That's right. I mean, bears. That's a perfect example. Bears. I was camping up at Mountain Rest, up in South Carolina, up in the mountains. Went out camping. Well, I did Anthony's version of camping in a log cabin, not a tent, a log cabin. I did what I've been told to do, clean up after myself with the barbecue. I had a barbecue outside. Here's the bloody bear checking me out in the bushes. Waiting for me to finish. As I finished, guess what the bear did? He's gone in to see if I left him any food. We don't get that here. The closest creature that you might get coming up to you is our little possums. Actually, our possums are cuter than your possums. But they can be vicious too if you don't give them what they want or you get too close to them, they can scratch you. The vicious part of it, they scratch you. And they've got very sharp claws. That's their lethal weapon. But I'll go to the United States. Yeah, LA's changed a little bit, some parts of it. It's changed. Is it bad? Violent? Not as bad as what they make it out to be. Okay, I'll go to South Carolina. I've been to New York. I've been to Chicago and some of the other places. Is it bad as what they made out to be? No, it's not. Okay, you have your bad spots. But is it going to stop me from going there? No. No. The only thing that stopped me from going there is certain departments. But we're going to get that sorted out very, very soon. Hopefully. Our news over here, we've got 3 channels we can choose, or 4 channels we can choose to watch our news. The one that I normally watch is got the old-fashioned one, as half an hour of our local news, and then we got about an hour's worth of national and international news, and then I just only watch it probably twice a week, and the rest of the time I watch the good old shows from the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. That's more interesting than listening to all the other stuff that's going on.
All right, Artie, it is almost 11:30 here, and
Thank you,
Joyce
Bernard.
is dropping the hints upstairs, so I need to log out. All righty.
Anthony, hurry up! It's getting cold up here.
Yeah, put
That's
your
not
helmet
him.
on.
Oh no, he doesn't want to wear the helmet to bed. No, he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to wear the helmet to head. No,
Is
no,
that
no,
your
no.
pickle halba, or are you just happy to see me?
We'll never see Joyce again if he wears that to bed. Thank you very much.
Artie, you could go off YouTube with half the jokes I just thought of with that comment. But on that note, I'm going to say good night, everybody. Take
Good
care.
night, Anthony.
See
Good night,
everybody.
Anthony.
Good
Bye.
night, Anthony. All right. I'm gonna have to call it quits in a moment too. I'll what you call it, you other guys, I'll have a chat with you guys shortly. Everyone, thank you again for coming on, and again, thank you for your support and making me or giving me the 200 subscribers. I know there's been some, excuse me, people like Daryl, Dave, Anthony, Split Rock, Sparky, Heath, Rick, and countless others. Steve as well, for making me help me get to 200. It was really appreciated. And again, I enjoy my Saturday nights. It looks like a lot of you guys, the regulars here, come in here as well. Enjoy the gossip and the chit chat and everything else that we talk about. As you see, we talk about anything really. We did, thanks to Daryl, we did talk a lot about trains tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you, Artie. Hey, again, everybody who's still here, I'm going to be hosting Sidetrack Sunday tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock California time. It's going to be on my channel. So if anybody's still here and listening, hit me up on Derail Daryl's channel.
Yeah, I'll have to get the popcorns out. And so don't forget, you got to supply lunch and dinner. Because it'll be daytime here, Daryl, so you're going to have to supply me lunch and dinner for the 8-hour stream.
If I could, I would.
Yeah, well, you got plenty of time. I mean, your burgers and your tacos will arrive here in time.
Well, I don't know. I'm going to be busy. I'm going to be busy tomorrow night. I got a big show.
I mean, what's the time there now? Your time?
My time is 8:32 p.m.
8:32 p.m. How long does it take you to get to LAX?
How long does it take me to get to Las Vegas? 3
No,
hours.
LAX to Los Angeles, to the airport.
And now 1 hour.
1 hour. Okay.
1 hour.
There's a flight leaving at 11 o'clock direct to Sydney.
Yeah, I know. It's a red eye.
There's actually two that leave, and they're probably about half an hour from one another.
Yeah.
Just throw the Mexican food on that and send it over, okay? That'll be right.
Yeah, but I was going over to see Steve Irwin, not you.
He's dead. Look what he done.
Poor guy.
That's what I was talking about. You start poking at things, it's gonna get you back.
Yeah.
And look where those barbs are. They're on the tail end, so I hate to see what he was sticking his finger at.
But you got to remember, he did something he loved. So, he passed away doing something he loved. So
yeah, but look, I love poking my fingers at certain things too, but I asked for permission first.
Well, I have a reason to come to Australia now, Artie, and that's you, of course. I've always wanted to go to Australia, but now I actually have a really good reason.
And look at this way, it's a 14-hour flight here.
How long?
14 hours nonstop.
Oh, I thought you said 40 hours.
14.
14. Oh, that's not
Yeah.
that bad.
And it's 16, 17 if you go Fiji Air. Fiji Air is actually, or Air Fiji's got good price at the moment from LA, and it's $800 return from Sydney.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good.
Only downside is you stop in Fiji on the way over. Split your flight up so you can stretch your legs.
Well, I might not get back on the plane if I land in Fiji.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will.
Okay.
Yeah, you will. You will. You will. Yeah, the mud wrestling season starts soon. So again,
Good night. Good night, Steve.
yeah. Good night, Steve. Is it on Earth? No, it's not. It's a different planet, Martin. It's a different planet. But yeah, it's not too bad here. It's reasonably good. Just expensive.
Every place is expensive, Artie.
Just gonna
Doesn't
say,
matter
I
where
gotta-
you are.
Steve, look. Really, when we talk about shootings, we got shootings in Australia too, but you don't hear about it. At the moment, we've got shootings going on up in western part of Sydney, and we got the strictest gun rules. So I'm not really going to touch that subject. We got shootings going on over there, and it's gang related.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the police are getting on top of it. So, yeah, it's
Part of the problem with the news and the shootings here is it's become so politicized.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
But it's like what Anthony says. They tune into it. If nobody
Yeah.
was tuning into it, then they wouldn't have the means to stay on TV.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I'll go along with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I mean, it's true what he said. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the
Well,
same
it's
thing
part
with
of that whole 24-hour news cycle. They got to fill that
Right.
all. You know,
Right.
You used to have to deal with what, like you were saying, you had like 6 o'clock news, and you had your 11 o'clock news, and that was it. Now you got
Yeah.
Right.
even before the 24-hour cable shows. Now you
Yep.
got 2 or 3 morning show newses on each channel, and you got the afternoon noon show. Then you got the 5, then you got the 7, and you got the 11. What the hell, man?
Actually, I missed out on last night's news. I wanted to see what was happening. We had the police helicopter flying over in the next suburb over to me here. No, they weren't looking for me, Steve. No, I wasn't. I wasn't doing anything wrong this time. But yeah, it would have been interesting to see what was going on over there. We have an idea, but suppose I have to get the paper tomorrow and read up on that. So anyway, okay, I'll talk to everyone in a chat later.
All right.
You guys all
Thanks for having me
behave.
in. I know I wasn't very talkative, but thanks for having me, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, no, Artie, it was good. I enjoyed it too.
Yeah,
I
just
really
hang
did.
in there. Just hang in there for a minute, Daryl, and
I'm not going anywhere.
yeah, yeah. So I'll talk to you guys hopefully next weekend. Health and everything else willing, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye for now.
Bye, Artie. Bye, Dave.
Talk to you
Good night,
later.
everybody.